And Chat Gang's already here. They're already here in force, which means it is time for RantCast 38. Good evening, everybody. I am Mephisto, the most dangerous man in Age of Sigmar. Well, perhaps second most, because my guest tonight is actually the number one ranked fighter at the 125 category in Canada for 3 years, former unified MMA champ, Mike Davis. How's it going, man?
Good, really good. And not only former, I've never lost that belt.
I think this is an important distinction. He never lost it.
No, I just got injured and couldn't defend it anymore. I defended it.
How many? I mean, so you might have guessed real quick that we're going to be talking about MMA tonight on a show about Age of Sigmar, and that.
With Age.
but we're also going to be talking about Age of Sigmar because I mean this is my jam is the Age of Sigmar adjacencies that I see in life, because this hobby is so much bigger than just the plastic toys on the table, and that's why I've been excited about this since I talked to you. I'm like I've been having to like not talk to you because I didn't want to like basically do the whole show in YouTube or in YouTube comments or Facebook chat. But man, it's great to have you on. So
yeah, thank you. It's good to be on.
So you were saying real quick that like you never lost it.
No, I defended it and everything. I actually won my unified title on my grandpa. It was Indian Appreciation Day, and I'm First Nations.
Okay.
And then my grandpa passed away the day I won my title. And then I defended it, and then I just never got to defend that one.
Man.
So yeah, it was emotional that night.
That had to be a wild ride.
Yeah, everyone was trying to keep it from me, and it was the crazy part is I watched that movie. It's a Seth Rogen movie where they go to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
This is the end. I watched that movie, and Spirit on the Sky came in. Then I went to the lobby by Rexall. Hockey arena, and I went to eat breakfast before the fight. Then that Spirit in the Sky came on, that song, and I was like, "Oh man, this is really good." Then I found out my grandpa passed away, and I was sitting there, and Dan Severn from the UFC fighter Dan Severn was eating breakfast with it was just like a chill old man, and he ended up fighting that night too. And Spirit in the Sky came on, and when we were driving back to the hotel, it came on a third time, and I was like, I'm walking out to this song. Screw this. Yeah. And I found out my grandpa passed away right after.
Yeah. So
and everyone was trying to keep it from me. So
you found out after you won?
No, I found out right before I went to the arena.
Right before, and everyone was trying to keep that knowledge from you because they thought it would affect the fight.
Yeah, but it just, it was Indian, I was just like, it's going down, whatever.
Man. Do you think I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead of the script here, but like, do you think that fueled you?
Yes and no. I do think so, because I was usually I'm a really chill, relaxed person, but I was super amped up for that fight, and I was like pacing, and I couldn't relax, and I couldn't stop working out in the back room for like my fight. I was supposed to fight at 10:30, and I ended up fighting at midnight. And I was warming up that whole time, and everyone's like, Mike, you're going to burn out. Then I just, my song came on, and usually I like to wait for a slow build-up, then walk out. I just ran out to the cage and took off my shirt, ran in, and didn't even give my team hugs. And then Joseph went at it, choked him out in the first round out cold. But I was too antsy, though. I threw a punch, he took me down and put me in a choke, and it was my choke, a north-south choke. Mm-hmm. It was like when you're laying on the ground and choking them, like, north to south, like 69ing. And I was like, not happening. So I struggled, turned around, and then grabbed him by the legs, picked him up, ran across the cage like a Matt Hughes and slammed him.
Wow.
And then choked him out. Yeah, it was wild. It was very emotional. Wow. It was a good one.
So that's like that's your go-to move is this north-south choke. This is
Yeah, it's my coach called it my best choke. That and a rear naked choke. So yeah, I was stuck in my own choke. I'm like, this is not going to happen right now. Come on, guys.
I've been in a few scraps growing up. You don't, how do I put this? You don't plan. How do I put this? The best way to know if you're good at a fight is to actually just get punched in the face sometime.
I hate getting punched in the face.
I mean, like the number, like I was kind of like a bully's bully growing up. This is a weird rabbit hole for RantCast. So we'll go ahead and crack open the first beer of the night. No, I used to get into fights because I was an abused kid cliche. You know, like I just grew up in the wrong home and I had a lot of anger, but I was also the oldest kid in my family. So I took on that like protector role, and so I would go looking for fights for other people's fights, if that made sense. And like,
Yeah.
and so like, you know, then I got into like martial arts, and you like, why do you practice katas in martial arts? And this is before the MMA craze, so I'm like, I have like any MMA guy just whoop my ass. But the reason you practice like katas is to like your body will then just react and start doing those moves it knows naturally, because you don't really like like you can plan the best fight in the world. The minute you get punched in the face, the plan goes out the window.
It's Mike Tyson. Yeah, everyone's got a plan until you get punched.
Right, Mike Tyson. And so a little bit of that went on, and you're like, my own move being used against me, and then you just...
Yeah, I was just like, no, come on, bro. Like, not today.
Oh, man. Yeah. Man, that's cool. So I guess that brings me to, like, my first real... Yeah, like, did he just use my move, G-Dad, in chat? Oh, hell no. No, I am. My first question though is like you're also a pretty prominent nerd. One of the things I found out early about you is you let your nerd flag fly.
Yes.
Which came first, like the nerdery or the MMA?
It was kind of both. I was bullied a lot when I was growing up. Me and my brother or my brother and I, sorry. We were nerds, but I had like a really nasty speech impediment, so I got bullied a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was born with spinal meningitis, and my speech didn't develop very well until I was like a bit older. Mm-hmm. So my parents put us in like judo and all these things to like pretty much just stand up for ourselves, build confidence type of thing.
Right.
But my dad played Magic cards and collected the old Star Wars CCG game, and like he collected the hockey cards and all this stuff. And like my dad was a bit of a nerd and like hobby building, and then he just like would buy us Magic cards, and we got into that. This is around when Phantom Menace was out, and Star Wars was my like safe place. Like Star Wars made me who I was a super nerd for Star Wars, still am.
See, go on.
Oh no! Then what really turned the corner was in grade 5 or 6. Clear Pokemon Game Boy came out, and Pokemon Red and Blue dropped. And then I never looked back from being a nerd.
See, that's awesome. So, for me, like, I don't know if you know this about RantCast. I know you've watched it. You've actually commented on a few videos on YouTube there, which is how this really kind of happened. Because I'm like, dude, like, I think an MMA fighter just messaged me, and Jack's like, no, that really is an MMA fighter, not like his fan or anything. I'm like, really? Like, he's got to come on RantCast. So that's how that's how this all happened, everybody. But like. Depending on how long you follow RantCast, you know that I hate Star Wars, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, no. But Star Wars is my jam. I'm playing the game right now, so.
No, so the joke is that I hate Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. Like, I actually think, I think you brought up something really, I think you underlined something that nerds, I'm a little bit older guard of nerd, you know? So, like, you know, I'm a 30-something nerd as opposed to a 20-something nerd, which means, like, you know, so my gateway drugs in were like, you know, like the old Robotech and original run of TMNT, like in the 80s, Thundercats, like things like that. Yeah. And then I got into comic books, so like not
my room's full of comics right now behind me under my belt.
Right on. Yeah, and like so my uncle then would have been the older guard yet, who was Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, and like that was his gateway drug into nerdery. So like it goes in generations, and I think it's important, the when the prequels came out, I got to see it through my cousin who was younger than me, begin to be the obsession in Star Wars. And at some point in time, as a nerd, we have to realize that like you may not. Like, oh, this isn't my Star Wars, but man, it is somebody else's Star Wars. And like those little avenues into these things that we love, like it's important to just kind of, I think, identify the love, not the thing as much as anything. But like when I see someone nerding out over something, I go, that's a nerd. Respect. You know, like,
Yeah.
like that's so you had this like sort of like you were doing you were kind of judo, which is sort of the backbone of MMA, really, like with the Gracies and stuff like that. Like it's really
Yeah, jiu-jitsu and judo, yeah.
yeah, those are that's sort of the background of MMA. I actually I was when I was younger. This is a lesser known fact about me, and I trained in martial arts as well. Not mixed martial arts. This was slightly before that, but it started out as karate because it was just big in the '90s, right?
Yeah.
And then actually my sort of trainer was like really into Bruce Lee, and so he stopped basically calling it karate and just calling it martial arts because
Yeah.
Bruce Lee's big thing was having form without form, having having no form as your form, some people think that Bruce Lee was kind of the first mixed martial artist in that he had this belief that all fights end on the ground, that you can have the flashiest kicks in the world, especially near the end of his career where he was just a genius of training and that's all he did was just train and fight.
Yeah, no. He was a pioneer of like the whole sport, so again, any martial artist loves Bruce Lee, Ali, Mike Tyson. Those are like the pinnacles of
sport fighting.
Martial arts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, for instance, Ali had the mental. I think he had the mental game. Bruce Lee actually admitted to kind of taking from Ali, like his footwork. He was like, that's Ali's footwork, and the sort of the shimmy and the shake was also an Ali thing because Ali knew he could beat you if he got in your head. Do you find that in modern MMA, like the mental game?
So I was a really big smack talker for the later end of my career, but not in a vile way, but it started with me and this guy named Tony Bibby. My brother and I were 135ers. There wasn't much in Alberta for our weight class, and there was a team in Edmonton full of 135ers. So we started smack talking all the time, and this guy named Tony Bibby was actually it's our 10-year anniversary on Facebook for our fight. We just smashed each other for 3 rounds. But he was a big established vet who was 5-2, and I was 2-1 at the time or something. We fought, and he went and fought in Rexall in Edmonton and called me out on the mic and called me skinny fat after I beat him. I was like, what the hell? And then we started beefing, and I started smack talking his whole team, and yeah, but it was we would go to watch other people's fights and sit with each other and smack talk each other in the friendly way. But I'm going to beat you up if you keep talking. We're going to do this. But it was in such a friendly way. And I was telling Jack there from Rerolling Ones this last night, I take the game and a really friendly, fun approach to fighting. I'm always smiling and having good times. Sometimes I'm not, and I'm more of a focused, serious person. But I was fighting this guy named Matt Knish, and I pinned him against the cage. I had him. I was working for a takedown, and I was just looking up, so because you don't want to touch your head because people could guillotine you there. Mm-hmm. And I was looking up, and I saw my friend up in the arena, and I looked at them, smiled, and started waving at them. And then I took him down, and then this guy caught me in an ankle lock, and it hurt. And I just looked at him and yawned and oh. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, I heard your leg pop. And he let go. I got out and ended up TKOing him. But to this day, me and Matt, we fought twice. But we're such good friends now. We are good buddies. And he's like, dude, how why do you do that? I'm like, seriously, you're about to blow my Achilles or my knee. I'm like, I just thought of that, and you let go. I'm like, so mentally for him, I beat him in something I didn't notice I was doing. But I was just I'm that goofball kind of fighting.
So your personality's in your fighting too.
Oh, completely. I have fun. I'm laughing, smiling. I don't one of my last fights. I was fighting this guy named Malcolm, and he's pacing back and forth in the cage and looking at me, staring me down, grunting. And I walked in the cage and leaned against the cage with my arms behind my back and just chilled.
That's fun.
And I was just that's kind of how I approach the game. I walk out to really cool, fun songs and just relax.
No, see
There's no
that
point getting tensed up. You're fighting anyway.
well, you want to be
I don't
loose.
need that much adrenaline.
Yeah, you kind of want to be loose anyway, especially in your sport. No, see, I went a way different route with my martial art background. I actually became a professional wrestler because I loved the like pageantry and the smack talk way more than the actual fighting. So like
So,
I decided to fake fight and do flips and shit, and I did that for about 2 years in the indie circuit in western Wisconsin, eastern Minnesota. So bull power wrestling, NW or what is it? NAW, sorry, New Age Wrestling. A bunch of like tiny indie promotions. I just and I you were talking about coming out to goofy music. My only claim to fame is I was one of the first women's champ for this small thing because they only had two wrestlers, or they only had two women wrestlers. One of them got sick, so I dressed in drag, and I was a heel at the time called Ginger, so I came out to Barbie Girl, and
nice.
won by fighting dirty. Talcum powder to the eyes that I pulled out of my like jock strap underneath my sundress that I was wearing, and but like the pageantry and the that was always something that really fascinated me, and I think. Go on. You sound like you got a point there.
Oh no! If it wasn't for pro wrestling, I would never found MMA. Blockbuster Videos used to stack MMA videos and pro wrestling like WWF together.
Yeah.
My brother and I would like use my mom's tinfoil under her kitchen for baking and smash it on each other and use Lego parts to wrestle each other. And then we accidentally found TRTs and DVDs and everything, and then it broke out. Then the next thing you know, we're wrapping socks around our knuckles and copying what Tito Ortiz and all these guys did.
Yeah, those sort of that original like trinity there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mad Lad Soren popping off here with the gift subs in chat. Thank you so much, Soren, man. 16 tier 1 subs going for a total of 100 gift subs. Crazy.
Oh.
Enjoy all the Mr. Meth emotes, folks. Be sure to go spam them in Rob Symes, the Honest Wargamers Twitch the next time you get the chance.
I saw AOS coaches in there. That's awesome. I always watch his stuff.
Yeah, Coach is in there. Like, Coach is a great dude. A lot of good. Joel McGrath's in there. I guess a lot of good folks in chat tonight. Yeah. So thank you so much for that,
Jack's
dude.
Probably busy acting like he's working.
No, So like the fighting thing, the MMA, the thing, and I think there's some of that in Age of Sigmar, the friendly competition. I think. I mean that was something I was gonna like maybe ask a little bit later on, but common grounds that you see in Age of Sigmar. What's like maybe one of those big ones you see between MMA that you like over in Age of Sigmar?
Well, there's so much you could actually. It sounds weird to like match with AOS and fighting.
Yeah.
But the main thing is when you have a group of friends who play, or a gaming group, and you go to tournaments. Hold on, I just gotta start this stuff.
No, that's cool. So, hey, you party people, how's it going, Tomb King? Tomb King Kristen, how's it going, my friend?
It's you get like this is the base I think where it starts. You get a group of friends who all like try and help each other and get better with each other, improve each other, and that's how my MMA gym was. You have a group of best friends. You're inseparable, unbreakable. You do everything together, and you all create a community, pretty much, right?
Right.
And that's what our gym was. We played Magic together. We played Hobby together. We went out together. We did birthdays together. No matter what, we were always supportive. One guy cut weight, like for fights, you'd have 13 people cutting weight with them just to make sure, like, it's such a positive thing. And the same with, like, around here for AOS. My group, like, we just started playing a year ago, and we all got back into the hobby as a together. But it's like a community. We're always talking to each other. We're always giving each other advice, painting tips. Hey, you should try this. Sharing news and videos and like content. Because if it wasn't for my buddy Jesse sharing Doug and re-rolling ones, probably wouldn't have jumped back in. Because I remember I was checking in after I left Fantasy and getting into AOS. I saw the circle bases. It looked like 40K. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm like, not happening, bro. I'm like, where's the vampire counts? No, none. Okay, we're okay. This is dumb.
So,
So
so you actually brought up a couple great points. Like, first off, vampire counts represent. Sorry,
yeah,
Tristan. but
yeah,
but second, because that was my army. It was undead, and then like I had to decide between Tomb Kings and vampire counts. I went with the counts, yo. Like OG edgelord.
you want to know something horrid? Well, it's not horrid. It was so back in our town. We lived in a small town called Bazzano. It's probably a couple thousand people. Like it's a tiny town, and
Mhm.
we had like 9 or 8 players. I like me and my brother like stirred this pot into Warhammer Fantasy. And the first, I bought a white dwarf on a road trip with my grandpa, and it was vampire counts versus it was like those page battle reports with
Mhm.
vampire counts versus dark elves, and it had the big necromancer on the dragon, and they're raising the undead and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it, and I slowly got into it. Then, I got all my soccer team like pretty much in it, and we'd
Yeah.
play on the floor, and we came crazed. And we are trying to get our buddy Brian into it, and I had vampire counts and Empire, and I wanted Brian to play so bad back in my friend Jesse's basement. I traded my vampire count army for Lord of the Rings Risk.
Oh.
No, yeah, but like he's still like those models are still around. Next weekend, our buddy Jesse's bringing up all our old Empire vampire counts, dwarf. Like he's bringing up all these old armies to
Yeah.
Tomb Kings,
Yeah.
and we're going to pick through it. But I traded it to get my friend into AOS, and that's how Brian got us back in. Him and Jesse were the first ones to jump back in. He's like, I just bought this massive things of paint off of Kijiji, and he's like, come over, let's get into this game again, try it out. And he was just throwing paints around to get us all back into it.
Yeah, see, that's awesome because, like you mentioned that your sort of origin with fighting and just general nerdery, Magic the Gathering. So you were in on Warhammer Fantasy Battle kind of early on too, in your sort of like history
It
of
was
being a nerd.
Yeah, the big red book with the Empire, Vampire Counts, Tomb Kings.
Yeah,
Tomb Kings were really new then. We played in high school, and then after we graduated, all got jobs, we separated, and we just got back into it last May.
yeah,
I'm talking 7 friends from high school or 6 friends from high school who played like a decade ago, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
We're all 30 now. We just got back into the game as a group, and some of us haven't talked in ages, like 5, 6, 7 years. And this game somehow drug us all back together, and now we're trying monthly games.
I mean I think that's some of the magic of Age of Sigmar. This is I've been around like sort of competitive gaming, a lot of Magic the Gathering, a lot of quote unquote esports for a long time. For as long as as long as there's been a tournament to go to with something related to gaming, I was able to do that. Like it just, but like knowing everything I know about all those other games, I'm still like, no, Age of Sigmar is different. It's special, and I think that's really one of the things that I'm always questing to figure out is like what makes it different. And like I don't know what it is, but I just know it is. It's pretty great. And like you said, that you got high school friends that played it like a literal decade ago come back
I didn't
together.
even play the right way.
So you come back together playing Age of Sigmar. You had to have that reassurance from your friend to play on circle bases. So now that you've been playing, go on.
Oh no, it's like I just saw the lore and everything. The armies I loved. The Empire was gone. Vampire Counts was gone. I was like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. And then like it was just when second edition was coming out, and he sent me re-rolling one's battle reports.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, well, I'm going to check this game out. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Let's do this. Next thing I know, I went out and bought 2,000 points of orcs because I thought we were all talking about which armies to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went to the store and I wanted undead. And I just saw Gordrak or like a Maw Crusher. I'm like, well, I'm orcs.
And
that was my brother's army, was the greenskins. So, and then I was like, I'm sold on that one model.
So you're still pretty firmly a destruction player now. So you've since abandoned you've abandoned us in the best faction in death to go and play destruction. I forgive you, man, and not just because you could punch my head off.
If they come out with Hemmer Kemmler or a vampire army,
yeah,
I'm back in.
I'll
be back in.
All right.
Until then, I'm not touching that. It's a mess. Legions and the Gash is a mess. My buddy has Legions and Night Haunt. But I was like, when I played that, I had a black coach, and then I had zombies on zombies, and I just write my friends' names on all the zombies' tombstones, and and then yeah, it's like every time I kill them, I would write their names on their tombstones,
That's
and then
great. I love that.
yeah, and I had zombies and skeletons, and that was my army. And
Yeah.
now it's like Graveguard are no good. Like they're the coolest unit in the game, like
Uh,
in death style.
Graveguard are a sleeper hit right now. I maintain they're pretty much a sleeper hit.
Yeah, but it's just like
It's
like
not the same though. It's not the same. I agree with you.
how the game like, and there's so much what bugs me. The one thing I hate about Destruction is how they're trying to shoehorn Gork and Morka into every faction, and like this endless winter. I think Destruction should just be armies that can't be tamed by civilizations and not have any ties. Goblins and the Bad Moon should have no relations to orcs or ogres. It should just be a free-for-all faction, in my opinion. I hate how they're trying to force a tie together, and I hope in future, like AOS 3, they kind of try to take a divide on that.
That's a great take. That's a fantastic take. But the first thing that came into my head was, God, you're a nerd.
Yeah, that's what bugs me about Destruction. In my head, I try to make that bit different. So
Yeah.
but like when I was like, I'm a nerd about anything I love. I think you could be a nerd about pretty much anything.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Back in the day, I made my own stat system for how good fighters were by like how they finished certain opponents with who they beat, and I made my own rankings, and I would stat how they beat each other and like put how good they are, and give them a rating, and that's how I bet on fights with my friends.
How successful was it?
It was actually pretty good. It was pretty good.
That's awesome.
Back in the day, like BJ Penn was like my highest ranked, and he was tearing through the lightweight division. And then like it's just I would like factor in like how they're training, if they switch gyms. Like I went so nerdy about it. It was disgusting.
No, that's not disgusting at all. That's beautiful. There's no, like I mean that's what fantasy football is, right? It's just Dungeons and Dragons for people not willing to admit they're nerds.
Yeah, there's my buddy Jesse. I lost a lot of loonies. Oh, so and then we created a UFC betting game. We had a octagon, and on the outside was round one, and there would be round one TKO sub or KO, and then round two, round three, and it would be right corner, blue corner, and you'd pick your corners and put loonies. You Americans don't know this. But
loonies is the money.
Fit perfect on it.
Yeah.
You know, little quarters, but we'd put dollar bets, and if you pick the fight exactly right, you win everyone's money.
You have toonies still as well, right? The $2.
Yeah, toonies are still a thing. Yeah.
Okay. I dated a girl from Canada one time, so I'm an expert on your currency.
Oh, there we go. It's the loonies and toonies, or you just went to the strippers a lot. It's one of the two.
Right.
Because that's what we throw at strippers is loonies and toonies. I feel so bad for them.
Oh man. Well, so you kind of, we got your timeline for Age of Sigmar kind of nailed down. How I'm assuming that the MMA happened at that sort of like the dedicated MMA actually kind of climbing the circuit happened in that sort of 10-year span where you were away from AOS.
Yeah.
Like how
pretty
long,
much.
So you were grinding 10 years, like that was when you were fighting and stuff like that, working.
So I left Bizano and started pursuing my MMA career because, like, back in my hometown, I loved to fight. I was fighting, wrestling all my friends, watching UFC, and I just went up to my sister's wedding in Edson and found out there was an MMA gym. And then I was like, screw it, I'm here for 2 weeks. I'm going to go, like, hang out, go train with this MMA gym. And then the coach, I haven't even been training 2 weeks at this gym yet, walked out and he's like, you want to fight? I was like, what? He's like, a pro fight just came up at 145. I was like 139, 40 pounds. And they're like, this guy lived with Paul Daly. He's 4-1. I was like, you just, sure, fuck it. Let's do this. In a month? Okay, let's go do this. And that's how I had my first pro fight. I lost in the third round. I got cut up really bad and they stopped it. But, like, it was a back-and-forth war. Like, it was nasty, and I had no right being that long in the ring with him. Yeah. And it blew, like, this is what I did when, like, everyone went to work and partied, did their whatever phase, you know? Mm-hmm. And then I just fought, but my friend Jesse and I still kind of liked Warhammer, and I got really bored one time at the mall and bought a Skaven Doom Wheel and a unit of Skaven just to paint. And then I put that away and never touched it again, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I just continued fighting, and I started off 0-2 pro, and I'm like, fuck, this is rough. And then I started winning and winning and winning and winning because I sucked at first. Well, I didn't suck. I was taking too hard of fights, and I wasn't just tying everything together. And I just assumed I would be way better than I was, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because I didn't lose fights much, and I was just not like, all my coaches were like, oh, you're like a natural and you kind of believe in your own hype. And then I just started relaxing because my coach, I remember my first fight would be like, dude, serious, okay, get in focus, because I would be walking, talking, laughing. And my very first fight, I was just like chit-chatting, I was like laughing a lot, and I was just like, I was like in the zone. And then the guy before me went out. I'm like, he's going to lose in like fucking 30 seconds. That guy has no right to be here. And like people were laughing. My coach was like, serious, Mike, serious, game face. And then that's when you realize everyone has their own approach to everything, right?
Yeah.
My approach wasn't being serious, and he was forcing me to be serious.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't work for me. And then I took a break, trained, and another coach came into Edson there and loosened me up and let me walk out to like Float On by Modest Mouse and Don't Worry, Be Happy, Three Little Birds, like a bunch of like silly stuff, and I was relaxed, and then I rattle off like 9 wins in a row.
Well,
Like,
Modest Mouse isn't just it's silly, it's great music. So
oh, I love it. Like, I love them still to this day. I listen to every now and then.
Yeah, so I actually this point here about like relaxing, smiling, having fun, like with your training and even with your fights, I think that this is pretty pertinent to Age of Sigmar. Now, obviously, you said early on everyone's kind of got their own approach, but I really believe that. I mean, even Bill Nye's got a quote that if you get people laughing, you get them learning.
Yeah.
You can't like be in pure like fight mode and learn something. You know,
yeah.
Like you have to have the brain and the muscles relaxed to absorb. So I really like that take. Do you think that has helped you? Well, whatever point you got there, but do you think that's helped you in Age of Sigmar?
Oh yeah, completely. So when we first started, like the salt in certain situations ran hard because we're a very competitive group of friends. Like when we played Risk, if someone flipped that board, you're getting beat for 30 minutes straight and getting the worst Charlie horse of your life. We took Risk so serious. We took like Warhammer so serious. But so when we got back into it, we were pretty serious. And then like someone would be losing and you get frustrated and mad. And then like all of a sudden, like we're like, well, why are we doing this, guys? This is like, we're taking this too serious. We relaxed. Then we started like looking at rules and be like, oh, we could do this. Because the rules are like so simple, but they're more complicated than they look.
Yes, there's
so
a
we're
very
like retreating pile-ins and all this stuff. And then forgetting rules, we're like, well, how do we backtrack this? But when we are not serious and loose, we help point out each other's mistakes. Like, dude, you don't want to do that into him, or there's like you're leaving a huge gap for Hand of Gork, you know?
Right.
So you start when you're having fun and laughing and just enjoying like stupid stuff. We're like, okay, I wouldn't usually do this, but I'm doing it just to learn. You get in a space where once you stop trying so hard, you open yourself up to new ideas. You're not so shut off, because when you're so focused, you can't like let your mind bring in certain stuff.
Right.
Like the last 3 weeks of fight training, or the last 2, you don't learn anything. You can't learn anything new. It's all business. If someone's trying to show you new stuff, it's a waste of time. And that's like the mentality there, because everyone gets so serious and focused. Where when I went into training last week to fight, I was trying to relax so I'm not stressing out. Because when you're stressed out, you don't lose weight. Your body's tense, and you're torturing yourself. So it's the same with AOS. You come into that, and if you're relaxing and having fun, you might notice you making mistakes or your opponent making mistakes, and you should work with each other, fix those mistakes, become better players. And then me and my driller, Nick, there, we started playing games after work. Like, we would work like 12 hours and then drive a couple hours, so 14 hours. We'd stay up, like, we'd start work at like 5, like drive to work, and stay up to 6 a.m., and then we'd stay up to like 12 and have to work at like 6 p.m. again. but we'd stay up from 6, 7 to 11, 12 a.m. to play a game. But we would like go just so happy we could play it because it's like a break from that horrible work schedule we have.
Yep.
And we're just like trying to experiment with AOS, and that's when we started learning. And like, oh, this screen, this charge, what's your threat like range? And then we started like learning all this, and we're like, that's when the rabbit hole opened. We're like, this game's way deeper than it is. And that's like with MMA. You could learn the basics and you could have fun with it in MMA, but when that rabbit hole opens and you're doing oshigiris and flying triangles and doing crazy throws and jumping head kicks, flying knees, and just learning combinations and throwing them in a fight, you like it all opens up to you, and you can't do that if you're shut off or too focused narrowly down like a straight line. You have to expand your vision, type of thing.
Well, the other thing I've noticed with exactly what you're preaching here is fights and games slow down when you know, like a fight goes real fast in when we're watching in real time, but like when you're actually like in the zone. I remember this one time I was training. This is the Jeet Kune Do guy. Or sorry, just martial arts, because he was very much a Bruce Lee purist. Like I remember we're sparring, gloves off and stuff like that. We're just, a quarter strength essentially, enough to like feel the sting of your mistakes, but not. And I remember like I actually got my fist under his guard, and I remember this time slowing down and remembering us just fucking around all day trying to prove if the 1-inch punch was a real thing or not. Like we were just fucking around all day trying to figure out if it's a thing or not. And I had my fist under his guard. And basically, if you ever see Bruce Lee do it, he just pops his hips and shimmies. It's more of a dance move than a fight move. And I just did that. And since I was already under his guard and he was kind of off balance, he just flew. Like it's the first time I'd ever like, quote unquote, won at sparring. And I'm just like, because I had remembered the fun bullshit we were doing and not the like crazy serious stuff.
There's this saying there, like when it comes to this, like when you play Age of Sigmar, you focus on winning the game so much, you forget that there's a saying in MMA we always have: if you don't win, you learn. And like that crosses over to AOS. Like it's not about winning, especially when you're playing with your friends. You should just have a good time and try to learn your army better, learn the game better. And just have a good time with your friends. It's not about winning at all, but the natural competitiveness is in everyone. Like, who likes to win or lose, right? It's not a fun thing to do.
I agree.
So, yeah, but you learn every time you lose. You're like, I should have done that different. Next game, I'm going to do this. So you should always try to make yourself better, but not make it less fun for other people. It's like someone who loses an MMA fight comes in the gym and prove they're not like, they're still the shit, and they spar way too hard. And that's not fun for no one else. Because then you're not having fun, and then it gets intense, right? So you should always, in my opinion, come with things in a relaxed state and make sure you're trying to have fun. Because, like, if MMA came unfun for me, because all the politics and the tweeting, making videos, the records, trying to get to UFC, it took away my passion for it. And now, like, it's kind of coming, like, the fire's burning pretty bad right now again. And so, but it's because I wouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff. I don't have 13 sponsors to please. I don't have to tweet about my sponsors, my fight. I don't have to sell all these tickets. I don't have to do this. I'm not worrying about my ranking, how many fights I won in a row, who I'm fighting. It would just be more relaxed. So, like, when you take the fun out of something, what's the point of doing it, type of thing?
Right. Well, and you mentioned something there about, like, kind of like the losing side of it. If you're not relaxed in a loss, and I'm not to say don't care. There's a difference between caring and, like, we have this, like, oh, you're too chill, you don't care. It's like, no. Like, I care a lot. I just, chill is my perspective and the place I put my mentality in going into something. Like, I care that I lost, but I'm chill so I can absorb the loss and learn the lesson. And I think it's very important, because if you lose a game and you're tense and you're pissed off, it's an emotional response. Like, I get it, losing sucks. But if you indulge that and you just cross your arms and you're furious at the table, you won't learn the lesson. You're not going to absorb it. And I think it's very important that if the goal is to progress, if the goal is to quote unquote get better and have better games, and then you're going to want to like put yourself in that mental state to absorb the information, that relaxed state.
Exactly. I also think it's important to communicate with people you're playing with and stuff, what you're going for on that game stuff. Maybe you want 1 week in a competitiveness, next week in dumbness.
Yeah.
Like last time I got salty, I brought a unit of gluttons, a tyrant. Like we had a 2-player like 2v2 game.
Yeah.
My buddy brought a janky night haunt list, and I brought a tyrant, some trolls, some gore grunters, a tyrant, and a mega boss. Like on foot, like a janky as janky could be list, and gluttons.
Yeah.
And like I was destruction. And then we faced, before it got nerfed, the Slaves of Darkness Nurgle and OBR, Petrifex.
Yeah, just,
I got salty. I was like, straight up, this is the dumbest thing I'm like, why?
Well,
and I was so salty.
Well, like also like gluttons are fodder. It's like OBR are a hard counter. You don't have any rend. You're low body count. We're just gonna swarm you and smash you into the ground.
And then Nurgle, you slam into them, and any 6s, you die. you know? It was just not a fun gaming experience, but sometimes that happens, right?
Right, and that's something that I think is super important in Age of Sigmar. It's one of the greatest things about Age of Sigmar is it is a social game. You must communicate while playing it. This is not Magic the Gathering, where I can put on my headphones, see you tap a creature, and know that means that's attacking. Right?
Yeah.
I need, you have to tell me what you're doing in the game. Like, you must. And if you have to tell me what you're doing in the game, we might as well have a conversation when you're not telling me what you're doing. You know, like...
Yeah, no. That's why I love this game, though, is because it's a game what grants opportunity to have conversations with people you're playing and learn who they are. Because there's that downtime, the movement phase.
Oh, yeah.
And then even, it's just like playing with the rules and intent. Like, hey, I'm trying to move these guys 3 inches away from you.
Yeah, playing by intent.
You know? Yeah, this is my intent of doing this move. Yep. Or this is my intent on this move. Yep. This is my intent. And you might screw it up, but if your opponent's nice, they'll be like, okay, this was your intent. You just screwed it up. That's a really nice thing. Where compared to, like you're saying, Magic, your intent, if you tap something and you freaking and then you don't no one's going to ever let you backtrack that. Where in Age of Sigmar, I feel like there's that leeway, like, oh, that was your intent, okay. It's just as long as you say it, where if Magic cards, you accidentally tap something and you're like, went back,
Judge,
like, oh no, I don't want to do that.
Judge,
like, nope, Judge,
I
got you.
Hand goes off, gotcha. Judge, well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying to Tomb King Tristan, Magic tournaments, 100%. You don't see people without headphones or, like, it's not a thing. AOS, probably not, but Magic is having a conversation at a Magic tourney, you might as well get punched in the face. It'll probably be easier on your ego.
Dude, no, to answer Tomb King Tristan, headphone guy is a stereotype of Magic the Gathering players. Like,
and if they don't, they're looking down at their cards and shuffling them like
I have that habit too, though. Like, I the only Magic the Gathering I play anymore is Commander or EDH. If you're an old beard like me, like I play. It's the only one I play because it is the most social one. Still, like, it's the most social one, so I still play it. So I get to like have the fun of all the things that made me love Magic in the first place. You know, the weird combos out of nowhere, the strange interactions, just the rules upon rules. But like I don't have to deal with grognards constantly, because that's what MTG is. And actually, you mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned it earlier on. I know we mentioned early on that you played Magic, but you actually were telling me that you were actually a standard grinder for about 6 years.
Oh yeah, I was hardcore into it, like local FNMs and everything. Me and a couple of guys off my fight team, we couldn't drink anymore because we're always training. Mm-hmm. So I played Magic when I was young, and so did one of my training partners. So we started tabletop, just Magic, buying random stuff, and then we found out about FNM. Being the competitive people we are, like, let's just go in, and we're doing uber good all the time, and like I would like our local store had like 40, 30 people, and us three were always top eighting, winning, doing all this, doing the store credit. And I'm not sure if the store credit is a detriment because it makes people more serious,
Yes.
but it didn't do it for us. Like my friend Jesse, I think he's in the chat, for Halloween dressed up as a gladiator and brought a Minotaur deck. Just as Jake, and like we got drunk and went to F&M type thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But people were still so serious. And I remember one player called Graham lost it. He's like, no one brings this. What? And he's like, I don't have a sideboard for this, and was losing it on Jesse. And he was offended. Jesse brought some jank ass deck and ran him over.
Oh yeah.
And Jesse got third or fourth place with a Minotaur deck because everyone was playing a certain way. No, he got second place. Yeah, he ran through him with this dumb Minotaur deck, dressed up as a gladiator, while all these guys are just like sitting shuffling the cards, being all serious. Like, relax, bro.
Well, this is actually one of the things like I'm trying to get trending in the Age of Sigmar vernacular, which is the idea of jank or the jungle. Like, there's a why. So essentially, like the meta in Magic the Gathering is hyper tuned. Deck archetypes are very well known, especially in standard, extended, which is now modern, legacy and all. So they all have like very established archetypes of decks. And I think we're starting to see the more archetypal play of Age of Sigmar than army play, if that makes sense. So like shooting as an archetype, and what type of shooting is it? Or high armor as an archetype, and what type of high armor is it? I think we're starting to see more of an archetypal scheme come down. And because most of the field in Age of Sigmar is the jungle. The vast majority of armies you play in Age of Sigmar, you're playing against the jank. You're playing against these people's pet lists. You're playing against these non-hyper-tuned things. But we're beginning to see a fleshed out meta because the game has gotten very wide. The natural state of things becomes this sort of rock, paper, scissors, almost Magic the Gathering like meta. But what happens when you're hyper-tuned, like you are in like Magic the Gathering, is jank beats your ass because you don't have answers to it.
Yeah, it's the jungle, yeah.
Like you'll lose in the jungle. And like Age of Sigmar is just like oftentimes always the jungle, and that's kind of like part of the beauty of it.
That's why I appreciate Age of Sigmar, because people buy these models and they can't. You put so much time in assembling, painting, buying the models. They're not cheap, and you're stuck with that army. So you may not think something's good. Like I was talking about Jesse, he bought freaking 2,000 points of Corsairs before Cities came out, and then Cities changed, and he's stuck with that army now, right? But it's super funny. It's hilarious. And then so he's stuck with that army. In Magic, you could trade your way or buy out that system. Like I topped 8. I beat freaking so many top decks with this, and I went to a local
like
Card Kingdom. No, it wasn't Card Kingdom. It was
Star City Gaming
Channel Fireball tournament. Okay. And I brought a Court of Calling with both Artarkas in my deck, and Silumgar with no mana to cast him. I had to Court of Calling him in my deck. Like, it was the jankiest thing, and I fucking got third place with that deck. Well, and it was like 90-something people tournament, and I had Silumgar main deck with blue mana and blue and black mana, and I was running a teamer deck with Court of Calling, and I was like, I gotta land it, and then I would land double Artarka sometimes and swing him for like 32 damage. But like unstoppable. It was like jank is what made Magic fun, but it's
going away.
Net decking after a while. The decks were too tuned to.
They're really hyper tuned. They're really hyper tuned. And standard is such a small card pool that it's going to do that naturally. Like people find the best thing, and this is true of Age of Sigmar. People find the best thing pretty quickly because they're gonna listen to me talk to Haywo one day on a show, or they're gonna go watch Just Playing. They're just gonna go listen to like Just Playing or any of these podcasts who are really like competitive minded. You're gonna find the best thing, right? Like you know that Iron Drakes are like one of the best things in City of Sigmar because everyone talks about it. And so like if you're chasing the best thing, you can overlook just how robust our game still is because, like, again, I said in standard pulls out pulls out cards constantly. It's always rotating. Age of Sigmar, most of the stuff that's in Age of Sigmar is still there. So something that is actually great tech against the new best thing is just waiting to be put into a list. And the biggest problem in Age of Sigmar is the time component. It like Magic. If you think like Age of Sigmar is expensive, like seriously try to keep up with a standard rotation for a year.
Yeah, dude, I traded my standard decks for like 6,000 points of freaking models.
Yeah, like or buy a playset of duels sometime in Legacy and tell me that Age of Sigmar is expensive. It's not monetarily expensive. It is time.
You can get
expensive.
an army for $600 nowadays for 2K. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money, and a lot of our demographic are people with families, and obligations. It's not 20-something-year-olds without families just grinding the scene for tournaments that pay you money.
But your return on time and money. Standard had a really fast rotation, and it sped up, so it came less enjoyable with the money you put in. These models, we seriously have models from when I was freaking 14, 15, 16 still at our houses.
Yeah.
That's it's not that bad.
Right.
$600 for an army, what I'm going to have forever. And even if they rotate and they don't come as good, I started playing orcs when they were horrendous. They were so bad I couldn't even it was unplayable. It was so bad, and then all of a sudden they got this update and life's really good, right. I don't lose as much all of a sudden. Right. But you get this joy and excitement out of when you take back on a certain type of unit, or you have a favorite unit, and it might get good one day, but you can win games with bad units still.
The thing is Magic the Gathering is a much more linear game. The win condition in Magic the Gathering is always deck them or always deal 20 damage, right? It's a very linear game in there. The reason that Age of Sigmar is much more robust, you can win games with bad units, or you can win games against better armies than yours, is because, one, the gap between the best thing really isn't that often such an insurmountable thing. The difference between hammerers and great sorters ends up being pretty minuscule when you factor in dice and table play.
Yeah.
So the thing is that Age of Sigmar has these sort of shifting win conditions in terms of objectives, battle plans, and dice being random to do all of our interactions. Plus, we're literally interacting in 3 dimensions. We have movement shenanigans. We're moving around a table. We're declaring charges and failing charges. We're shooting. Combat's going back and forth all the time. There's a lot more. This is what you were talking about earlier, is there's a lot more depth to the game once you start really falling down, you called it the rabbit hole. There's a lot more depth to this game, and that allows to keep people kind of always in it, despite a lack of obvious parity for on a model-to-model basis. Brian Kennedy, thank you so much for that sub there, buddy.
That's one of my boys. Yeah, Brian. He's the Bone Daddy player who whooped me with my Gluttons.
Oh, Bone Daddies, best daddies.
Yeah, he's part of the high school group. Him and Swing.
I've got my murder ponies right here, right next to me.
I got the Face of Bones side for him.
Good man.
No, I hate it. I hate it so much. There's ways. If you can't re-roll charges and all that, I'm going to find a way. Wait till my 2 more crushers are around.
We can't re-roll charges though. OCR Bone Reapers, we don't get to use any of the generic command abilities.
I didn't know that, and I just
let him.
Him and his guard. I was seriously, I did 20 something wounds, and he's hey, 2 die. I was I'm going to fucking flip this table right now. Get out of here.
See, the answer is Stonehorse, bruh. You got to get you some Stonehorse in that.
Dude, wait, hold on, right here. So, I'm still building them, but I got these bad boys. Wait.
Beautiful. Yeah, Frostlord. I see they've got the spear, so those are Frostlords on Stonehorns. Beautiful.
Yeah. So I was really bored at work with my buddy there, and I was watching Doom and Darkness play with his last list.
Doom's
And
got
I
some
had
great
my
battle
gliding
reports.
list.
Yeah.
I just like sat there and I looked at the list and I just ordered Doom and Darkness's list with the Frost Sabers, but I'm using Noblars and practicing my conversions with Noblars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna make little scenes on each Frost Saber base of Noblars doing stupid shit. And I'm gonna remake the R2D2 scene where they're like the Ewoks frying C3PO or not C3PO R2 and Luke and stuff
Yeah.
on bases. And I'm just going to learn how to like convert with that. But I made that list, and then I have a 2,000 points of Gladens. It's called like the Iron Legion. It's three Iron Blasters, a bunch of Lead Belchers, a Tyrant, and whatever else Gladens.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just like I was bored at work on night shift, and me and my buddy were talking army lists, and we just end up ordering armies. So that way, when I came home, I'm like, it's going to be my birthday. I'm going to order this army.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, I see. I think Mod Tribes are one of those armies that lied to people early with their performance. Because people were just kind of running what they had. But now that the book's been out a while, you start adding some of that like good tech to the list, and suddenly you're seeing Mod Tribes like actually bringing down 55% win rates, and like they're start creeping up there, and they find themselves rather favorably matched in the meta with their movement shenanigans. And
yeah, no, that it's same with the orcs with their move. I like movement shenanigans. I guess that's my theme of my armies. I like.
Yeah, well, speed kills, man. It wins games.
Yeah, and like it's with the orcs, I'm going to build a Gore Grunter double maul crusher list here. But like my heart was Ardboys when I got into it. I bought a lot of Ardboys.
Well, do I have news for you?
With no rend, and like they were so much worse.
Well, do I have?
But, like they were the black orcs. I was like, I love that. It's the old fantasy.
Yeah. Well, they're actually like kind of the way right now, especially in Big Wa. Like they get that extra punch they need when they're in Big Wa. They're pretty good, and they're just really efficient points to wounds. They're a really strong unit in the game. They give Mortek a run for their money with the right synergy built. So
and a war chanter.
Yeah, exactly. So
war chanters make the army go round.
Yeah. So I mean, we were kind of spiraling around this thing here. So you've done the competitive. Obviously, you've done the competitive fighting. You've got the titles to show for it. You got that championship belt sitting right there. You're starting to get into the competitive Age of Sigmar. Got a couple, yeah. I'll pull up the table of where is it? The slab of, what did you call it? The trophy slab.
Yeah, the trophy slab.
I count no less than 5 championship belts here in a plethora of medals.
No, I have. Then my brother has a couple, but I gifted one to a sponsor, one to my gym. This one I won when my grandpa passed away, so it's not. I'm going to get
that's
infested with a rest in peace there, and then the rest like. That's the thing. Like I always want my belts and trophies and stuff because they mean so much to me. But at the same time, you gotta let go of stuff you love sometimes. Like my belt, giving it to the gym and my sponsor, hurt me inside to do. But if it wasn't for those two people, I couldn't have done it. So it's their belt too, and because I couldn't train as hard as I did unless Derek Casing Services sponsored me so much. I went full time for almost a full year.
Yeah.
And I went on a fucking rip. I was destroying people. And I couldn't do it without him, so he has a belt in his office. Mm-hmm. And then the other ones in my gym with my coach Gary Vig, because without him, I was already successful, but when he came, he like really taught me to embrace myself and be me. Because when I fought, people would always I was dumb and did a lot of dumb stuff that could cost me fights and do sacrificial things, and he told me embrace that.
This is the at the onset of the show you talked about waving at the guy when he's about to snap your freaking Achilles or whatever.
Yeah, it's just
and that was sort of that embracing yourself in the match. That bringing your personality in.
Just fun.
The more we talk about MMA and Age of Sigmar, the more synergy or the more I see, because for me, Age of Sigmar is the game where you put yourself on the table more than anything else. Like, I've pimped the hell out of my decks in Magic the Gathering, but that's not me on the table. There's quirks with my, what I choose to put foil on and what cards I get in foreign languages and so on and so forth. But, like, my Mortek Guard, the joke, like, when I got them, I'm like, trying to come up with color schemes, and one of the first things Christian Ware said to me, he's a local hero, honestly, he goes, don't paint them purple. And so I'm like, okay, color schemes that aren't purple, and I'm just, like, trying not to paint them purple, and then, like, fucking painting them purple. So, like, every time I put these down, I, like, remember Christian Ware telling me not to paint them purple, and then me going, they're fucking purple. Like,
it's all about, my vampire count army was purple in high school, and my ravens are purple, so.
Yeah. Yeah, purple is best color. Purple's best color. Like, you when you're fighting for me.
Yeah, we're doing, me and my girlfriend there are doing a Beastman purple army. So
right on. See, I love Beast of Chaos.
Jack lost that bet to me. I bet my Ravens would beat his Seahawks.
That's right.
He would have to pick a model, right? So I picked a Beastman Shaman, and he picked a Elf Prince, and the loser had to paint the other person's model in the other person or that team's color.
Just to reset this quick. So Jack from Rerolling Ones had the audacity to think his stupid seagulls, that his seagulls,
a fantasy bird beat a real freaking raven, Odin's pet. Get out of here.
He had the audacity to insist that some water birds could beat ravens.
Yeah,
and
he lost the bet, so he painted me up a nice Beastman Shaman in the Ravens color scheme.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, my buddy's in the chat there. Jesse's a Seahawk fan, and he sucks.
See, so
my friend Brian's an Eagles fan, and that team sucks too.
So I'm a Packers fan. If you haven't noticed the cheese head sitting up above my head over here, my Packers thing, and I constantly wear Packers apparel.
Aaron Jones is in my dynasty team, so I won't talk shit right now.
Good dude. But I am obligated to hate the Seahawks. So for me, a win against the Seahawks is a win for everybody.
I don't know. I don't mind the Seahawks actually. They're fun to watch.
I hate Pete Carroll. I think that guy's a piece of crap.
He looks really good for his age, though. So
yeah, because he's sacrificing children to fucking Satan. Like, the guy's a monster.
Yeah, no one wants to. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Like, that guy's
offensive line's getting sacrificed, maybe, if anything. Because they don't have one.
But no, the main thing is I don't like Russell Wilson. And so, being a Wisconsin homer, I know that Russell Wilson played for my team as a mercenary, and I still don't like him because the stupid sports bubbles thing. Like, he thinks like I just can't forgive him. Like, and when he said that he was that God was a Seahawks fan, and that's why they were allowed to win over the Packers with the horrible referees. I'm just like, I could never respect him. Like, when he's like, oh yeah, God made the refs make the wrong call. I'm just like, screw you, dude.
I think Coach has you right on that comment, actually. So no.
I thought the cheese hut was because he played Petrifex Elite. I mean, it's like, like many things in my life, they're all connected, dude. The cheese, the Petrifex, like, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk, and I always do.
Got cheese in your blood.
That's right. It just cheese is in my veins.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. But it's so crazy, like when we're talking about like MMA and like Magic and AOS, like AOS has like such a friendly community compared to stuff like Magic. You don't see content creators in Magic sharing the love like the content creators in AOS, because everyone's trying to build this community. Mm-hmm. Where in Magic, it's like a lot of competition between each other. Well, and then like you don't see content creators being so open with their fans. Like, I was just in 2 Plus Tough's chat with Rerolling Ones. Jack was there, and then we started talking about MMA during the fight, and then it like kept going and going. And we started talking on Instagram, and then last night we played fucking 4 or 5 hours of Total War while we were painting, talking about just this and MMA and AOS, and it's like crazy how the community is more welcoming than most, right?
Well, I as a content creator, I view content creation as a collaboration. So like Doug and AOS Coach here in chat, re-rolling ones. When any of us are making content, we're adding to this thing that we love so much. And because like I say something right on Twitter or wherever, and then another content creator or someone who's in the community or a community member reads the thing and they interact with it, we have made something more. And I just, for me, that's why like even like content creators whose opinions I like disagree with on certain things, it's like we get to have a discussion and that becomes content. You know, like it's like like there's no like the competition part of content creating for me is with myself to always make sure my next episode is better than the last one, that I learned the lesson from something that I made a mistake on, that I said like too many times and I cut that out my vocabulary, that I direct the guest through a good conversation better than I did before, that we don't meander too much or we linger on chat too long so we have dead air. Things like that I'm always having to fight myself on.
See, that's why MMA, like just what you're saying, when you fight, when you go back to the gym, you make a bunch of mistakes, you try to better yourself. You pumped that jab too much, you feinted too much, you didn't throw enough, you didn't land that takedown, you sat in guard too long, and you try to fix that before your next fight. Yeah. I mean, it's more severe, but it's the same thing as with a game like AOS and like a fighting, you're always trying to improve yourself by like just small milligrams of improvement every week, type of thing. You want to get better at talking, you want to get better at fighting, you want to get better at painting, you want to get better at jiu-jitsu. It all like it's the same mindset that as long as you're open to improving and not closed off and don't want to limit yourself, you could reach way further. And the same with like content creating. There's a lot there. You make rule mistakes, people flame you for it. You freaking go get knocked out, you get flamed for that shit too online. It was a poisonous community in MMA when you would fight and people would see your name, and like next thing, the comment section on top MMA news is people flaming you, you're not doing this, or whatever, you talk too much shit. And it could be the same thing in YouTube comment section. People are going, it's fearless behind the keyboard when you make comments and stuff. Like everyone's humans and you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
As long as the next time you're out, you try to improve those mistakes, that you're going to have more fun with it. But if you're closed off, then you won't make those things. If you get too proud to admit you made a mistake, you can't fix that mistake.
Right.
And like people make mistakes a lot. Like he asked me on a Saturday morning after I went drinking, you make a lot of mistakes. So I don't know. Man, my hangovers are a lot worse in my 30s now. Before, you know.
Yeah. No.
So it's the same after a weekend. Like I'm assuming, like after a weekend of Warhammer, you like go sit down and like you might just flip through your rule book, or you might flip through your army book or your rule cards, and you're like, oh man, what the hell did I miss? And then you figure out what you missed. So I made a notebook and started writing down what I missed when I play games. And I did that with MMA. I have a notebook right here. This is here. Wait, hold on. I'll grab this. This notebook is full of notes after fights.
That's like, cool. That's cool, so actually.
After fights, like I would make notes and notes. I made like little words. Here's my old PFC thing for fighting, and I would write down every little thing. Like I got my Joe Rogan tickets there, but I would write down every little thing. I'm like, I made this mistake doing this triangle. I'm going to improve that. And I would go try to improve it. And then I find I'm trying to do the same thing with AOS. I did something wrong in a game. I'll write it down, and I'm going to improve that by next time I play.
Right. And so real quick, you actually, when you were an MMA fighter, you were competing for a prize pool.
I was a complete pro fighter. So you would show up for money. So you and your opponent would show up with it's just a fight purse. So I would show up as $1,500. I get $1,500 win or lose, but if I win, I get double my show up fee.
Okay. So you're competing for $3,000. You're competing for $3,000 there.
Yeah, then tickets and sponsors, right? So like sometimes it got up there, but people didn't realize how much you gave up. for that too.
Well,
I didn't work for 3 months at a time sometimes, and I would come out there with $8,000. Cool.
yeah. I mean, you're usually you're not taking a fight. You're not taking a fight a week. You're taking a fight on an extended period of time.
Every 3, 4, 5 months, sometimes 2 a year, sometimes 1 a year, depending how your body is.
Yeah, and and you're training that whole time, and training is essentially breaking the body and building it back up. So it's the whole time you are working toward the payoff. It's
no, every time you fought, you want to show up being like, oh, they think I have this weakness. I worked this out. Get out of here,
I like the real quick chat gang here. Soren says he has a notebook for all the time he's killed a party, which is of course a TPK he's talking about in tabletop RPGs. And that's brutal, man, but I love it. That's evil. Like, you are the evil GM stereotype. I love it so much. So you're competing for a prize pool. Magic the Gathering actually. So there's some discussion now with the sort of like rise of T sports, quote unquote, table sports, right, instead of esports for Age of Sigmar. T sports eventually, an inevitability of that is sponsorships and perhaps prize pools that involve money. Do you think that like, with your perspective on MMA and MTG, do you think that is what ruins the fan base, or is it the fan base or the sport or something else? Because go on.
No. I think with the fan base in Magic is like it
or the player base, we'll say, in Magic, not the fan base.
Player base. There is prizes, but a lot of people are trying to build up these points and do everything so they could go to GPs or do this or make the Pro Tour and all this, and then they add in a little thing like, hey, you win, you get 32 packs of Magic cards. You lose, you get 1. So people stopped being loose and experimenting in my area, and I found in general in everything with MTG when I went to bigger tournaments. They stopped experimenting because they want those things, because they go get their buy-in. They want something back.
Yeah.
And when you want something back from something, you have expectations, and expectations lead to bad feelings.
Yeah.
Like, you go on a date, you expect something, it goes south. Oh, you have bad feelings, right? You go home and cry yourself into sleep in the washroom. So you don't want that feeling, because expectations lead to disappointment. So MTG, I think, created that, where there's prizes.
They created the burden of
card.
They created the burden of expectation, is what they did.
Yeah. So, like, top 8 get the spoiled card, top 8 gets packs. You go to a pre-release, you could win a bunch of packs if you do top 4. So people would go research power games, stay up all night, get exhausted looking at different time zones, pre-release pack openings, and what's strongest, what's winning, and they'd go next morning off of 3 hours of sleep and try to get the pack. So when you beat someone, you could see how disappointed they are, and they wouldn't talk.
You're taking the pack from them. They won't even shake your hand. One of the things you said sort of off chat was this notion of walking up. We talked about Headphone Guy a little bit earlier on. Like, actually, like walking up to Headphone Guy, he doesn't even really like talk to you, and there's no handshake. And now I don't want to. Again, I did an episode just recently on like sort of spectrum disorders and invisible disorders. You don't know what war is going on in somebody's head. You know, so you know, they could have like some social anxiety and stuff like that.
Anxiety.
Yeah,
it's
fine, right? But there's still that overriding vibe that like whole, like, I have ruined someone's weekend if I.
Yeah, it's bad feels. Like, I would sit there and play this guy named Craig, and he took it so serious, and he'd lose to a jank deck, and I remember Jesse beating him with his Minotaurs. No social anxiety, but there's so many people in MTG like this. When they realize things are going south, not only do they try to delay the game, they try to think their way out of it, they will sit down and stare at their cards, not talk to you, and take 5 minutes while you're sitting there, arms crossed, just waiting, and you're like, what's going on? Do you want to talk? No? Okay, cool. And you try to make small talk, and it's not happening, right? And then, yeah, it just made bad, like, I was across the table, I felt the salt. And, like, you can't enjoy a game when there's so much salt on your side of the table, you know? And the same with AOS. When things are going bad and you get negative, and everyone does this, if you start getting salty, it takes away from your friend's fun, and then it takes away from the experience, and then slowly you'll burn out of it.
Well, I do think that it's important to, like, to say it's okay to have, like, negative, like to have, you know, negative emotions, to feel
You're
bad.
going to.
If
We're
the
human.
dice roll doesn't go your way, like that is fine, everybody. And I, you know, I got to be cognizant because I have I have like a resting bitch face. I have this just like wicked brow line, so it always looks like I'm frowning when I leave my face in like neutral. Like, so it's something that I've just kind of become aware of. But like, not everyone's gonna like be that aware, right? It's
Yeah.
but there's that sort of next step where you make it prominent in the on the table where.
Yeah.
And I think that's the stuff that we can avoid and make this stuff better. But I want you to go ahead.
Oh, if we're with our friends and everything, I think it's really good to tone yourself down, make mistakes on purpose if you're trying to like get people in the game. So if someone's not having a fun time, fuck it, make those mistakes, get them back in the game. And like when I'm playing with my girlfriend, like I'm not going to go power game. We're going to go tic-tac-toe type of thing. And the same when I'm sparring a new person or coaching a new person, I'm not going to go freaking use my skill on them. I'm going to let them beat me up a little so they enjoy the time too.
You're not just going to like put them in that patented choke out the like first punch.
I'm not going to shoot a blast, double leg, take them down, ground and pound them, choke them out. You know, I'm going wrestle. I'm going to let them shoot. I'm going to I missed something. But you don't make it blatantly obvious, or you just don't make it so it's so obvious, right? You don't tell them how good you are. You go have fun. You tone it down to their skill level when you're trying to get people into MMA, and I think that's vital with AOS. Like I'm trying to teach my girlfriend's little brother AOS. I'm not going to go, freaking my Gore Grunters are going charge. I'm going War Chanter them. I'm going to forget that War Chanter buff, and I'm going charge into his guys. Mm-hmm. You know, just little things. Or I might make a bad position, so he has fun too.
If I could
to have fun getting punched in the face, you have to punch people in the face.
If I could sort of caveat this or counterpoint slightly, what I try to do is I will take the riskier plays as opposed to like the blatant obvious bad plays. Like if I roll a 12-inch charge and I'm not supposed, like the good thing is to charge the thing on the objective. But I rolled that 12-inch charge, and I can charge their, like, thing that they like over here. I'm going to charge the thing that they like over here and have fun. Like, yeah. I don't think you teach someone the lesson by, like, going soft all the time.
No.
But like, you can switch the narrative of the game when you're in the game. As far as, like, for getting buffs and stuff like that, what I do is I let them have all their buffs. I remind them of them. I switch into a teaching mode where like, oh, did you want to get that buff off? Then like I go into that coaching mode. It's something I need to actually be cognizant of as coaching people to beat me at a table. I'm like, this is the better play. Like, you know, like I need to be careful of that and let them make their own mistakes or they're not going to learn either. So there's sort of like two sides of this coin here. AOS coach question: how does the decision-making process with your opponent in MMA cage, assessing them, exploiting a weakness, losing without salt?
Well, you're going to lose without. It's salt in MMA no matter what. You got beat up, and your friends watch you get beat up, and your girlfriend watch you get beat up, and you got beat up. It's all salt. There's no which way around that. When you win, you're high. When you lose, you're going to go eat freaking a bunch of hot wings and drink yourself to sleep, and you're going to hate your life.
Oh, I love hot wings so much.
With the assessing thing, you could do a lot of research in MMA. You learn what gym they're from, who's from their gym, what type of style they are, and then you might try to watch their fights. But when I get in the cage with someone, body language is a big thing. You got to read body language. You got to look where their eyes are looking. If they're looking down, if they're looking at something, a lot of people have this natural habit of looking what they want to hit instead of looking straight at the shoulders. So you could watch them. You look like I look at their shoulders, but you could still see their eyes move. And then you do feints and checks. So you act like you're going to go do a strike, but not commit to it. Just see how they react. And then you learn their body languages. And then you counter what so you throw a move. Like I might throw a jab and they might step out to the left a bit, right? So then you can know you could sidestep right hand. But you read body language really big. It's really more aggressive, but like it's slight little things in MMA. Like someone might go wild and like try to beat you up, but you gotta realize they can't keep that up and they're compensating for something. They might have had a bad camp and they don't have cardio, so they're going out to knock your head off. Stay safe, tie them up, like work them down, slow them down, bog them down. It's kind of like setting up screens in AOS. Just let them smash into things, they get tired, and then you take over. So you got to counter protect that, but it's when you get in the cage, like body language, it's kind of hard to teach that, but you got to really read body language. You know when people get tired, you know when people start fading, you know when people are frustrated. The same with playing AOS. You look across the table, if you're playing, like this is why I was saying you don't go easy on the people you're teaching, but if you could visibly see them and their body language says not having fun, go out of your way, make it fun for them.
I like that. I like that point. I think more than anything is if you see they're not having fun, you can read body language in Age of Sigmar too. Like it's you can tell when someone's not engaged in the game. Like the obvious thing is looking at their phone too much, or obvious body language would be turned away from the table. Like they're not engaged in that moment. If they're leaning over the table, they're engaged in it. Their palms are on the table, stuff like that. There's body language to read. But like I don't like to teach people like to be bad at rules or things like that. But like taking a softer list is a good way to like sort of self comp when you're teaching someone new.
This is the thing. Like it's more like this is in theory too, because our group's very competitive. But I'm noticing a more relaxed state with our group. Yeah. We just went through a couple month phase of. Well, it started with. I played really bad Orcs, and my friend Nick played really bad Sylvaneth, and he probably went 0-18 his first couple games. And you know what happens when you lose that much? You get sick of losing. And it was me, like with MMA, I was 0-2. I got sick of losing when I first started. You get good. And then all of a sudden, you're power gaming, you're doing everything, you're list building better, Nick's studying, and then he's doing really good. But then everyone's power gaming, then you power game back, and then you're going to hit a wall, right?
Yeah. Right.
Then you got to remember to relax and have fun.
Right.
So,
right.
So the worst gaming experience I had was teaching my girlfriend against Jesse, who's in the chat there. He had like 200 or 100 monks versus a demonette horde, and it was like plague monks before the nerf. And there's just so much moving, so much rules, so much different dice, and she was like, "What the fuck are we doing here? Like, what is this game?"
Well, you gotta, and I think if you're teaching someone 100% brand new. You gotta soften the list. I really do think you can't bring, like, they won't learn the lesson if you just table them turn 2. There's no lesson to learn. There's no lesson.
Saying.
Like they're bringing the models. The average person paints the models they love. They look at, oh, that looks cool, I'm gonna play that, and they don't even quite have a concept yet of how quality the model is. They don't know to look at the war scrolls. They look at the models and they start playing the models they like, or the models they like the story of. Like they love the backstory of the model. And like you can have people end up on unintentional filth, but like they can still not learn the lesson if you also they're on their filth list. Then I'm gonna bring my filth list and crush them turn 2. Like
my first 1,000-1,500 points at Orcs I bought off of like old memories, and Brute's looking cool. But do you mind just holding on? I'm going to grab a drink really quick.
Yeah, go ahead, man. So I can address chat here real quick while he's grabbing a drink. Usually I'm the one who walks away from the camera. So this is it's taken us 38 episodes, everyone. We made it there. Well, when we get a new person playing with us, we bring kind of terrible lists or help them beat us. When I play Mike or Brian or Nick, it's kill or be killed. That's fair. And this goes to the social aspect of the game. Just talk to the person. In an LGS or in your basement or whatever, just say, hey, what kind of game do you want to play? Do you want me to bring my hard-nosed list? There are people out there who are like, oh no, I'm bringing my fluffy list, and they show up with like a tournament top-tier competitive list, and you're just like, yeah, that's your fluffy list. And they're like, oh no, I put a fungoid cave shaman in it, so it's fluffy instead. Like, come on. Like, be honest. Don't be a dick. Like, you like, I don't know what you have to prove winning a game with models against a new player. So, how dare you? My Petrifex list is narrative based. Mine is too. They're made out of shadow beasts and shit. But, like, I don't know, if I'm trying to teach Colin the game, I'm probably not running my full ideal Petrifex elite list against his 8 stegosaurs. or what, or stegodons. Sorry, probably not doing that. I'm gonna bring, you know, extra endless spells. I'm gonna change up my list to help him learn the game, because you learn from defeat, but only if there's a lesson to learn. And if the lesson is like, you suck and there's nothing you could do about this, then, you know, your lesson is you're inexperienced. Like, you got to allow for specific opportunities to learn from. How is he supposed to be the new Wonder Boy? I mean, it's the difference between throwing a kid in the deep end of the pool or getting in the pool with them. Like, yeah, some kids learn by just throwing them in the deep end, but, like, you'll find they enjoy swimming a lot more and learn too if you get in the pool with them. And I think that's
a funny story there?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Next, I grew up on Vancouver Island, and it's surrounded by rivers and lakes, and we went on a dock, and my brother didn't know how to swim yet, so I kicked him off the dock so he could learn how to swim. So, I don't know, it's both.
It's a little... Well, and that's, again, that is the advantage of a social game. You could also say, hey, you're new to the game. Do you want me to put it in the 6th gear and just kick your shit in? If they're, like, a competitive-minded person, they might go for that.
Yeah.
You know? Like, but if you're trying to get people to love... Yeah. But like, again, it really just... You know, it really comes into that social side of this game. But now that I got you back, now that you got a fresh drink, I'm gonna have you go on record and put this down, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, so MMA, you've gotten paid money to punch people in the mouth and choke them unconscious.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot, yeah, over time.
You're getting into the Age of Sigmar. You're getting into the Age of Sigmar competitive scene here. And you would spent 6 years as a grinder in Standard for Magic the Gathering. Which scene is the worst? Or
okay, so this is the funny thing. AOS is with my friends. I haven't had tournament experience, but we're getting into that. And we do get salty. MMA, I have some of my best, like, some friends I've had for years, I've beat the shit out of in a cage fight. And the worst experience I've ever had, like, I loved MTG and I love it, but the environment is pure poison. And that's why AOS is more of an uplifting thing. You go on any of the forums, people are trying to help each other. Yeah. If you go ask a question like that to a Magic player, how stack works or how this works or this, hey, look at my deck list, people are going shit on you if you bring a weird deck. And they're going to make fun of you, run you off because they're net decking. Everyone's net decking. In AOS, net decking, it is there.
Well, you mentioned just taking Doom's list yourself, right?
Yeah, that's net decking, but his list, I wouldn't say it'd be a top tier competitive list. You know, it's Frost Sabers and 2 Frosthorns. Like, you know, like he said, he only went 3-3 or whatever. But it looked like such a fun list to play. I was like, I'm buying this. Yeah. I'm just buying this.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. So on record, as someone who has been paid cash money to choke people out, Magic is the worst scene.
Yeah. I'd rather fight 5 rounds, 3 rounds. I'd rather get TKO'd or TKO someone and sit in a room alone with them than sit in a room with 8 Magic players and it would be awkward and there's no conversations. And honestly, like, I loved MTG so much, but, like, there's some amazing people in MTG.
There really are.
But
they truly are.
When you get into that competitive side, you're going to hit a wall of freaking awkwardness and just people get so competitive they can't interact with you and think. So you're sitting across the table, you probably know this, on an FNM, and it's a big room, there's 40, 50 people in there. That means a bigger prize pool. You might make 40, 50 bucks in store credit, maybe 100.
I put a down payment.
No one wants to talk.
I put a down payment on the house with Magic the Gathering, okay? Like, to put it in perspective, the packs I flipped, the cards I won and turned into cash got me a down payment on a house. I have since lost that house because the seller sold it out from under us because we were doing a fucking rent-to-own thing, which I would never do again. And she just like, oh, someone just paid me outright, so fuck you, buddy. Like, and they were a friend, so we had more of a handshake deal than a litigation deal, and you don't expect friends to backstab you. Point is, Magic has paid. I hit a point in Magic where I was good enough to to earn money, real money off of it. And I would never go back. Like, I just...
I'm out.
I play EDH still. I bring my EDH, actually, by the way, fun fact, I bring my EDH decks, I have 3 of them, to every single AOS tournament I ever go to. For that one person's like, oh, you've got your EDH decks. But I've got medium spice, like caliente, and then like my fluffy one. So I bring like 3 decks, and when I play you in EDH, I assess whether you a dick or not. And if you're a dick, then I pull out El Caliente and I whoop your ass. But
so like with the community thing with MTG and stuff, the LSVs, like all the big up people, the Gabby Sparks,
Kibler was my idol.
Kibler's the man.
He's out of there now. Like I think he does a lot more like Hearthstone and stuff now.
No, that's all he does. But Kibler was my favorite MTG player.
The man.
He brought the jank to Pro Tours. He was Sir Jank. So
his understanding of the game was just a next level.
Yeah, but you have these guys like the LSVs and stuff, right? And they're content creators for MTG. Do you see them interacting like our guys, like our 2+, like Doug is pretty much like our LSVs, and like our Gabby Sparks, like our content creators go down. You don't see them interacting with their community unless it's on Twitch and they're making money.
Yeah.
Like, they answer questions when they get donations. They do all this. But you go to their streams, it's not like this. They don't go stream for free on YouTube. You know? Like, it's in it for a different reason than AOS content creators are. Doug's not in it to get rich. Because you can't get rich off of AOS. Like you can on MTG.
No,
It's a different environment.
I mean, there's a couple AOS content creators out there who can do it full time, but that's because the community support is really high, not because the sponsorship and the branding and all that stuff. It's different, exactly. That's why, like, I do have a Patreon, and this is a great convenient time to plug it because I'm terrible at that. I have a Patreon. There is no paywall to my content. It's got different tiers, and it's a joke. It's one big joke. It says, you get bragging rights for paying for the higher tier. That's what my Patreon says, because why I do this is I love Age of Sigmar so much that I want to talk about it all the time, and it overflows into needing to say it all the time to people. And I live in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, and I'm like, I need to just yell into a microphone for 2 hours every night about how much I love Age of Sigmar, and then I make content. Because it's the love of the game is spilling out of my body, and I have to make something with it.
Yeah, that's what MTG, I was in it hardcore, like, up to, like, well after Arena's launch, and I was, like, so into it, but the community, it's not the same. I came in here, and I've jumped on content creators, and it went down this rabbit hole because other content creators recommend guys like you in chats, and even little guys like you, Cinderfall Gaming, AOS Coach, and Honest Wargamer, and it went down from Doug and to re-rolling ones, and it went down this spiral, and you realize everyone has a different aspect that you want to follow, but they reach back out to their community, unlike others. You know, I couldn't sit and message LSV on Instagram and have him respond back to me like a dog and Jack, you know?
Yeah.
And me and Jack now talk quite a bit, and we're playing Warhammer Total War and having painting sessions together. And then Doug, even, like, I could go message Doug and be like, you tell Jack to finish my damn Beastman model you lost a bet on, and ship it to me, and Doug will shout it out on stream.
Yeah.
You know, and it's harder to do that in other communities. AOS is full of people, like, everyone in the chat and everyone in other chats and Doug's chat are hardcore fans who want to build the game up. Mm-hmm. So the negativity is not really there. People get salty about certain armies and the nerfs and stuff.
They pass. It
passes, yeah. And it's just a goddamn game.
I have a take on that, and I think the main thing is because the community in the game the community is just bigger than the game. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the community is bigger than the game. The problem armies come and go. There will always be a problem. It's always going to come and go. My Petrifex Elite in 3 months, people will be going. the people who just really fundamentally hate the Army will still hate it, but it won't be the main topic of discussion in every, Twitter feed. Like that.
And OBR right now. It's Zeech is pretty bad right now.
Zeech and OBR, whatever. Like it'll.
Do you remember Slanish? Like when?
Yeah,
we're
already not talking about Slanesh, and they were dominant for like 7 months.
They were the worst thing. They'll sell their models, then they'll move on, and they'll nerf them.
So, this is where I actually need you, chat gang, to run my show, because you are the show within the show. I need you to come up with some AMAs for Mike here, because now I have to walk away from the camera, which is...
Of course.
which used to be something that was like a trope on my show, but I haven't had to do it in a while. So chat gang, get some questions going here, and I'll have you answer some of those. But I just think it's really cool, man, that you were basically like, if you ever saw the old the first X-Men movie where like Wolverine is a cage fighter in Canada.
Oh God, yeah.
My
first fights weren't far off from that, man.
But like that was kind of your origin in fighting, is you started this cage fighter. You told me like how your initial fights that they actually were like in like bars and stuff like that, and then eventually you moved into like.
Yeah, so my brother fought one fight. So we warmed up in a stripper's locker room, and they had like their writings on their little windows. There's still heels in the corner, and we warmed up. And then so we taped up everyone, and we all went there, and we're wearing the bacon strip shirts. And like we walked out. He walked out to Saturday Night's All Right fighting, but we're in a strip club, and we're warming outside while it was raining in Lloydminster, Saskatchewan, Alberta. And then we walked out, and the cage was plopped in the middle of a dance floor. And people could, like, touch me while I'm cornering my brother. And he fought, and we walked back, because he was the main event. We walked back, undid the gloves, and the cage was almost done, and people were starting dancing on the goddamn floor. That's how, like, wild it was. And I was warming out outside of men's washroom in Edmonton. Like people were walking out pissing, and I'm about to fight, and I can see my opponent warming up across by the ladies' washroom, like across the arena. Like it was a small venue. Like there was some ghetto ass shit you could see, like people digging through piles of gloves trying to find ones what fit you, but they're all sweaty and gross.
Yeah.
Oh, and I saw Holly Bear, their favorite fighter and least favorite active UFC fighters right now. My favorite active fighter right now is Mighty Mouse. Anderson Silva is like my goat with Fader Emelianenko, but my least favorite is probably I hate Chris Weidman. John Jones I'm warming up to right now quite a bit, actually, because now he's owning his shit and his cheating, and now he's stopped. And then I really love DC too. He's amazing. Nagash, the worst choice in AOS. I hate how Nagash is portrayed in like right now in lore, and I hate how they came out with this Everchosen. Like I like the Everchosen book, but Nagash is the worst. He's just a little he's like a little cucked boy, and he just whines about it after his wife's doing stuff. I do not like that. The haircut's a couple of weeks old, actually. But Nagash, it bugs me because I feel like they're trying to move the lore in a way I think they shouldn't have, because like I've seen this on stream where they talk about how the realm should be fighting back, and Gorjak's running around with his ram, what could knock down anything. I think there should give some destruction love with the lore. There's no destruction love in the lore, and it bugs me a little bit. So I hope they address destruction coming to a thing, and like the realms fighting back and using orcs and ogres and destroying civilization there. What corn hero guy could be 1v1? I'd punch Scarbrand right in the dick. That guy's a wuss. I hate him so much.
All right, so
Are you ready to play against Blood? Oh yeah, here's Brian. He just runs he runs a nasty bloodthirster list, like 4 bloodthirsters against my orcs. So I got 2 maw crushers to run down his throat.
All right, so
Archaon's the type of guy the referee would run in and save him, and then declare you the loser and say you're disqualified because he has fluff lore.
Oh, that is the spiciest of takes. I agree with you 100%.
No, he's a freaking...
He's a Mary Sue.
You TKO
He's
someone, he's like, and you like go down and like you get saved by the referee, and then all of a sudden you're disqualified because you fucking punched Archeon. That guy's a bitch. Grimgor Ironhide headbutted him to a different realm.
That's spicy.
He was saved by fluff.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Oh, chaos, boom, blow up Grimgor. Get out of here. If they make Archeon invincible again in the lore, they're just not learning.
Well, they just did the Wrath of the Everchosen, and I actually, as a Death player, I kind of really enjoy where they went with the story, but I really need to see Archeon have some consequences for kind of failing. Like,
he doesn't.
But like he never has consequences. So, question: if you were to face a great unclean one in a cage, how would you take it down?
You don't. He's just a blob. He's Butterbean. He's a walking Butterbean.
Dude, Butterbean's punches. Butterbean's punches are so sick. I fall down. Oh, go on.
I watched a guy, one of our local coaches, knock out Butterbean.
Well, he's old now. He's so old now.
Yeah, this was like 9 years ago. But yeah, no, you don't take down a great unclean one. I don't think that's possible. You're just like, you gotta just, I don't know how you beat a great unclean one, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think you do. He's the best chaos god there is. Everyone else is lame. Corn's like a bully, like a high school bully. And his dad's a cop, and he's a football player. And then Flemish is like a sexual deviant. And then freaking, I don't even, who's the other one? Zeech is like just a nerd in the back playing MTG on his phone. So like, I don't know. The guy unclean one's a cool guy. He's a cool guy at the party who's just drunk sitting on the couch, and you're just like, I want to go talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Something's up. He's not talking to anyone. I wanted to go talk to him.
Oh, come on, Buckets. Be nice, buddy.
What's that?
I said Buckets being a dick.
Oh. Yeah, so much.
No, we don't roast my guests here, dude. You can roast me as much as you want. Let's see. So I guess the one last sort of question on the notes I have here, besides what bet do you have going with Jack, and how is he going to lose this time?
Oh, so yeah, I beat him on the Seahawks Ravens bet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, did you say how many Jaeger bombs has this bro smash? I'm not drinking Jaeger, first of all. Are you? Everyone's less attractive to Mark Wahlberg too, so it's not really bombing. So let's get that straight. Yeah, no. So Jack and I bet on the Ravens, and he painted up that Beastman one in my Ravens colors.
Yeah.
And then he wants revenge, and me paint up a model, which is stupid because he's a Seattle fan. So he's what are their teams? Seattle Dragons versus the Houston Roughnecks are coming up.
Yeah.
And since I'm a roughneck, like that's my job. I work on drilling rigs. I picked them, and then we're going to do teams on. I haven't picked a model yet, neither has he. So we're trying to figure out which models we're going to pick. But the loser paints up the other person's model. So we're just probably going to end up continuing this on for a while until he wins one. But like that, I saw that Seattle. I was looking up this like the stats. The Seattle Dragons quarterback looks horrible, man. Even though like mine is bad on the Houston Roughnecks, but he's the best XFL quarterback probably.
Yeah.
So I'm going to win a model, but I don't know if I want to do it like something for my Beastman army or my KO army, because like it wouldn't match my Beastman army. So try and figure that out.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a good time to do it for the KO, especially the octopus dude is really sweet. He looks like freaking Doc Ock. That guy's pretty awesome. So
yeah, I have like 1,300 points of KO. I just haven't really had the passion to paint them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I am from Alberta. I'm up in Rocky Mountain House or near Red Deer.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
The Texas of Canada.
The Texas of Canada.
Drilling rigs, big trucks, and dickheads.
Man, shots fired.
Yeah, no, I got a bunch of armies kind of in the back burner. I got my Savage Orcs and Big Wa I'm working on.
Big Wow's a
And
really
then
strong army.
I have my Iron Jaws. Then I have 2 different 2,000 point ogre armies, and then 1,500 points of KO. And then my girlfriend has 3,500 points of Slaanesh, and then we're starting a Beastman army together.
See, I love Beast of Chaos. And anybody who's followed me for any degree of time, the thing is, like, Beast of Chaos is one of those armies. They compete. They compete every game, but like you have to really think about it, and you're always thinking. So there's like some mental fatigue involved, as opposed to just like Iron Jaws, where like I'm gonna alpha and go for the double. Like, okay, cool, good strategy, man. Beast of Chaos, you have to like engage every game, which means you're in every game. That being said, if it's your vacation home, it's the army you can like play every now and then. Awesome, you're gonna have the most fun ever. If you're like but you don't want to live in the vacation home, and that's the problem I would have with Beast of Chaos. That being said, there has never been a meta better for them.
No.
Playing them before, you had extra Ren. You had extra Ren. Ren you couldn't do anything with. Now you're like, dude, Nurgle, Slaves to Darkness builds, Ossiarch, Bone Reapers, KO actually are a high armor army. Like, they've never looked better. Plus, you can deploy half your shit off the table, which is just huge in a shooting meta. And, low-key, you have some of the best shooting in the game. Because Ungor Raiders are great. And you have scout moves off the Ungor Raiders, which actually kind of counters Tzeentch. Like, they're so good. They're so strong.
They have Minotaurs, bro. Minotaurs.
It's true. Minotaurs are pretty sweet. I'm sensing a theme. I'm sensing a theme here. Minotaurs. So,
I like big monsters. And AOS coach, I'm actually from Vancouver Island, and I'm going to Wet Coast to meet up with Jax if you're there.
Yeah. So Jack. By the way, I'm actually going to have 2 of the guys from Rerolling Ones on next week for RantCast. It's going to be Jack and Brett. So we're going to talk actually a lot about community again, and we're going to talk about like sort of battle reports, like kind of. I want to pick their brain about their show next week, and then I think we're going to talk about Seraphon of all things.
Jack and I talked about it last night a bit.
Normally, I don't hinge my episodes to like specific releases, because when you go back and listen to it in a year, it becomes irrelevant if all I talked about was the Battle Tome. But I really want to talk about some hype with the Seraphon and stuff like that with those guys.
They fixed the lore, I'm happy, so whatever.
Well, I mean, they gave them bones, so I'm happy.
Actually, to this Bucket Ninja, there's a bunch of events in Edmonton and Calgary coming up this year. There's an Alberta Age of Sigmar group you could join.
Good.
And it lists all the tournaments. It's really friendly. So
good. And actually, that's a really kind of a good sort of accidental point. You really early on in the show, we talked about how you just had 6 friends all playing again. The aspect of like building a community, you've essentially built your own little like micro community.
Yeah.
How did ganked by baby? Like how did you? I mean, I guess building that community.
Yeah.
Ganked by baby. This happens. This happens to me frequently. Hello, baby.
Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
No. Yeah. Like our community, like it was a slow. We just all ended up here. I'm going. 1 second.
Yep. So, daw out of 10. Yeah. No, I my struggle. We'll get to it back in a moment. He's here. Yeah. So like actually like building a community in sort of like an area. Now you're gonna like have tournaments. You actually have aspirations for like doing some content yourself.
Yeah. So with our group, we're all high school friends. We played our fantasy, right? And then we dispersed and got back together. But it's kind of funny because all of us walked by a games workshop and thought about it. And then our friend Jesse and Brian are in the chat there. They kind of like pushed us like let's maybe try play this game, meet up and play. Mm-hmm. And then they started sharing Doug and re-rolling ones, and like we went all in. And my other friend, like my best friend from high school, one of them, Nick, like I haven't talked to him in like 5-6 years, just randomly messaged me, and I was just getting into AOS with Brian and Jesse, and he's like, "Hey man, have you like checked in on like Warhammer? It's different now." And then we all joined in, like, I created a group chat, then our two other friends, Jesse and Peyton, got drawn in, and then we all meet up. So I'm in the mid of Alberta, and then the other guys are in the south, and we have one friend in Brian, and like right mid between us. So we all carpool and drive a couple hours and meet in Brian's house and start playing AOS. And we started getting more into it. Now we all have like, we started last May, and we all started just going deeper and deeper into it. And then just recently and today and yesterday, we started talking about being more hard, like get into content creating. We have enough armies between us. It's insane.
So if you were to make content, what would the focus be? Is there
just
like, do you
like
have an idea?
reports.
Bat
Yeah,
reps?
kind of like just, yeah, bat reps, fun bat reps type of thing. Maybe some competitive bat reps, but we're still like learning and growing in the game. But we're talking about bat reps, maybe like hobby stuff and hobby chats just about the world of AOS, but not like lore, but like what we
Your own spin, and like where you connect. I like that. Yeah, I
like
that.
People like to shoot the shit and speculate, and it would be more of that type of thing if it's not battle reports.
Oh yeah, like tinfoil hatting and stuff like that. Like Vince Venturella has practically made a brand off of it. I think Buckets here is actually moving to your area soon. So would you be willing to accept my boy here, Buckets?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we're in that. It's all in the driving distance, right? Like we have a guy down in Medicine Hat. He drives an hour, 2 hours to go to Calgary, and I drive 2 hours to get to Calgary, and we all meet up.
Yeah.
Like we always have room.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I'm just talking about it. My buddy Brian down in the Calgary area has an open garage, and we're going to deck it out and turn it into a game area with all our armies and just content create, and like it will be good because the one thing AOS is lacking, but you start noticing is female presence too. And
yes,
my girlfriend there will gladly
Coach
play
is
with
actually,
that type of thing.
Coach actually doing his women a Warhammer cast here. I think to be an ambassador for the game also means to strive for inclusion and representation, and I mean, lesser known fact about me is I grew up in a biracial family in the South. Black stepdad, two black brothers. It was a really weird awakening to see some sort of like just basic discrimination and stuff, and I don't see a lot of that in Age of Sigmar. So I'm like, this would be a perfect place for people to just of all walks of life to hang out. Like, we don't even really talk about any of the heinous contentious shit. We just play games, and like, what better? Like, you're literally all equal on the tabletop. There's nothing. Like, I don't. If you're fighting at the 125 weight class or someone who's at that 225 weight class, like. It doesn't. None of it matters on the table. You're equal there. It's just it's just the dice. It's just the rules. Like there's no. It's fantasy. It's even more beautiful. Like, they don't have all of our bullshit from the world that's going on the table anymore. That's why I love games. There's no better place to like just have people from all walks of life hang out, suspend the bullshit for a little bit, and just have fun. I think if we actually rather than having like proxy wars and shit in the Middle East, if we like actually just had like war gamers go and decide the conflicts, like instead, like like Russia, there's like kind of a pseudo newer Cold War going on right now. Like, if Russia, instead of like making a bunch of fake Twitter accounts and like being weird with our election politics here in America, like they just met us for a game of Age of Sigmar. That'd be way cooler. Like, isn't that kind of how the Olympics?
It's a war game. Like, that's
We'll just have war games instead. The world would just be a better place.
I just feel like women AOS. It's more of a, like, you see it more honestly in how small AOS is compared to MTG than MTG, because I've known a lot of females who try to get an MTG, and it's the most awkward environment for a lot of females to come into.
Well,
I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of weird awkwardness always with females and MTG. And you could see in their YouTube, like their YouTube community, that's a huge thing, and they're all attacking each other and making YouTube videos about each other, hating each other. and then with the females.
I gotta put on my ally hat real quick. Females is an adjective, not a noun. It's women,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, women.
It's women.
Sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
no.
Yeah.
One of my D&D group. So I have a D&D group we play every week on Sundays. Roll20. All my college friends that just kind of scattered across the continent, and we barely see each other anymore. Her hugest pet peeve as a woman gamer is being called a female. She hates it, and so like I've taken her up her cause because it's not just like that. Oh, she's talking for all womankind. It's like no. Like, be respectful to my friend. She hates that shit. So you could kiss me, Map. I got you, Tristan. Yeah. So this is if I were to have my one PC moment, it's like is trying to like change gears to not use females as a noun would be cool.
I'm just like it makes sense, but like I train with a lot of women in MMA.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to be treated any different. If I'm training with them, they want to be treated like a guy, no different. And it should be like that in AOS. You shouldn't be awkward or feel weird and talk different around them.
I agree.
Just treat them like you, and they'll be like easier to come in. But like I was saying, AOS, like you don't see it much on the content creator side, but it's starting with like what's their that couple who play the battle reports. I love them. That couple. But like,
I don't know.
They're the only female content creators. There's not many.
I mean, Gemma in Australia is fantastic, and she's an excellent part of the community.
Yeah, it's but I noticed that more than like in MTG. It's only Gabby Sparks, but it's starting to pick up more, and it's like a spot where I feel like AOS people are more accepting, less attacking, and less defensive about new people coming in. Being a new player in MTG was the roughest thing I've been through. It is a beating.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Like, this little thing where... So, in Age of Sigmar, I had to deprogram from the competitive Magic the Gathering scene.
Right? Yeah.
Where, like, when you walk up to somebody and they're like, oh, I've never played in a tournament before... They're actually telling you the truth in Age of Sigmar. And in Magic the Gathering, they're lying to you. Like, 90% of the time. And so, like, if you go into Magic the Gathering and you're like, this is my first tournament, nobody believes you if it's your first tournament, and they treat you like you're lying to them, and they become shittier to you.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit to realize... Like, I asked I've started asking people, oh, is this your first tournament, or blah, blah, blah. I've started doing that at AOS tournaments, and, like, when people say, oh, yeah, it's my first tournament, they're being sincere. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then, this, like, let's play a great game. Let's have some fun. Like, and then I tell them all my tricks, and I'm like, this is my winning strat. I'll even tell them my winning strategy. I'm like, now you have to try to stop me, or hope your dice are better than mine. Like, and it's like, it's such a different world, because I feel like when the dice go down, like when it's just you start dropping the dice on the table, we do in our game almost more than any kind of just care about the game and talk to each other. And when you have that, it's just there's an equality on the table that I don't like. LOL, for instance, massive gatekeeping. Video gaming as a woman is terrible. Like, it's like the whole post Gamergate era. It's just a lot of my contemporaries who are women who've come up in Twitch and stuff like that. The number of times I see comments on their videos or their social media where they're like, "You only have 50 followers because you're a woman." You know, like, you only got partner because you're a woman. Then, like, every time I see that, I just want to vomit blood because it's so vitriolic. I'm like, that's
how, MTG is the same way if you look at their YouTube comments for most parts. It's disgusting.
Your dice are, in fact, better than mine, Kyle, by the way. This is objectively true, but my strategies are better than yours, so get wrecked.
Yeah, my buddy Swing in the comments, he's, like, saying his dice are terrible. He plays, Scryer, and I could speech. He just blows himself up 90% of the time. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, that's actually how you beat Skaven, is just they're gonna
Let them
do their
roll.
thing, just count on it to fail.
Yeah, unless it's monks, it's annoying.
Yeah,
But
no,
they're not so bad. But
I didn't expect to go on an inclusion rant tonight, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
hey, it's RantCast, man. I want to open up an OnlyFans to prove that it isn't just for women. I like Coach, man. I like what you're doing there.
Yeah,
So,
just go ahead. Just do some
you play
apron.
representation. I think we could stand to, like, as content creators, be more embracing of women, and I need to make it a better point to get on, like, more women onto RantCast and stuff like that, to show that they are out there, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. What I brought it up though is that, like, you notice it in AOS, it's kind of growing, and it was like Partners at War, and like this Gemma, and like you could see it starting to come. And if the communities doesn't go the way of MTG,
Yeah.
like it's a more positive thing. Like there's a way for them to come here. It's good. Like
Yeah. Well, like Andrea and Tanya are two staples of our community, and there I don't think I've seen a speck of shade thrown at them in any sense. Like, I don't think we're gonna go the MTG route of, like, gatekeeping against the gatekeeping that goes on in our community is very, like, army based and opinion based. It's not, like, player based, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the way you do it is I'm getting my wife into it, and she has Slaanesh, and bring out all Plague Monks, Jesse.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a way to get them out.
Yeah.
Moving 600 models.
Yeah. So I just to just kind of bring this back to the sort of, like, the core of the episode here. You mentioned that you were starting to get the fire to fight again. Is Mike Davis going to get back in a cage anytime?
Yeah, I need one more fight to round off on 20 pro fights. So but it's got to be the right fight and a fun fight. I'm not going to go in there against an Olympic wrestler like my last fight. I don't want to go against a top fiver. I want to go against someone who, like, has fun with me in the cage. Not I have a couple of people in mind, and we've been talking, trying to set up a fight. I just want to have a fight what sparks something, and I know it's just going to be a fun fight where we could laugh, not a serious thing, because my last couple of fights were so bone serious, because we're talking about, like, potential UFC shot with a win, potential, like, loss with a lose your UFC chance with a loss type of thing. So the pressure was dumb, and social media presence was too much, and it just took away why I was there. And the weight cut, like, I was in February, beginning of February, like 170 pounds, and in mid-April, like April 13th, I think it was, I was 123 pounds, like 170 to 123 in like 2 months.
That's insane. That's insane.
That's how you lose a passion for something, when you dive too deep in and take it too serious. So as long as it's a fun thing, I don't have to weight cut for it, and just learn to relax and have fun with it. Like, yeah.
Well, we just came all the way back to, like, I think the main premise of what we've been talking about all night tonight is the learning to relax and keeping it fun, right?
Yeah.
That's been a big. I can't preach that. That's one of the big reasons I wanted to talk to you, because you were just kind of like, we were just kind of like spitballing there. You made a comment on one of my videos, and it was just like, I thought it was just someone who liked MMA commenting, and I basically said as much to Jack, and he's like, oh no, that's him. And then, like, you send the photo, like, posing with the belt, sup meth, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get this guy on. And I heard you talking about your sort of, like, mentality in the game, and I'm like, this is pretty much my perspective on how you learn and how you game, is that coming in from that position. So I really enjoy that. But now you're kind of in this new cage of competition. You're actually a family man now, and you were talking a little bit about hobbying with your kids. So just real quick, how has that been? And
It's a lot tougher, because During the day, she's so active. It's kind of hard to sneak. I like painting during the day with the natural sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
and playing games. Get out of here with a baby. It's not happening. So if it's just you and a friend, they'll drive you crazy. But it's hard. But just like I was saying earlier to you before chat, I just would like give her a paintbrush and like let her act like she has some Saurus warriors there she's working on. Like she's just plays with and smashes them around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you just got to distract them and not get mad if they break anything, even though it's kind of hard. But
Yeah.
with the hobby time, I find it's the only time you could do it's late at night, and that's kind of not my favorite time to hobby because of the lights and I have not the best eyes.
Yeah.
But it's a whole new game. That's for sure. You just gotta, yeah. Painting. Sometimes I'd like just start a base coat and I'll get an arm done. Then I gotta go tend to her, run back, do a bit of the back, then run back. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. But like my girlfriend's really good with the hobby and stuff, and will let me go hobby at night. Like last night, I was on for like 4 hours with Jack, and we're just playing
Yeah.
Total War and painting, Total War painting.
So as a student of the game, as somebody who learns the lesson in MMA and in AOS, what lesson have you learned with balancing the hobby and parenting?
Oh, jeez.
Are you still taking your licks? Are you still getting
You get screamed at by your baby, you put everything down and go.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
baby comes first, right?
Yeah, with MMA, you got to put yourself first. Where AOS, you can put your baby first. If MMA, you don't put yourself first, you're going to lose and not win a fight. So it's a bit harder with a kid unless you're actually making money, or if you're like right now, I couldn't compete against the top 5 fighters in the country anymore like I used to. I would be fighting ex-UFC fighters, top ranked people, Olympic wrestlers, because it was me training for a fight. I put myself first, where now I'm going to put my daughter first, and that won't allow me to keep up with elite athletes anymore.
Yeah.
So,
but that does. I mean, in terms of the game of life, I feel like my best moments have been my kids. So I don't mind taking that L. I don't mind taking the L because I'm not as prepared as somebody else in Age of Sigmar or Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, getting your nose broken and orbital bone shattered and your Achilles torn, ACL torn. It's a bit more of a consequence than, oh, oops, I wasted 2 hours and got my ass whooped in AOS.
Fair enough, man.
Fair enough. No, I've had so many surgeries by now. Yeah, and get a decent lamp. I got to get a better lamp because I'm used to painting during the day. I just use a shitty lamp, so I'll get that done sooner or later.
$20 will actually on Amazon will get you a pretty decent. The key is getting that natural light lamp, trying to get the daylight lamp. All right. That's how I feel painting. I don't have time anymore because of the kids. Yeah, I mean, I carve out all my time. Luckily, I'm an insomniac.
Yeah.
That's my superpower. If I didn't have insomnia, I would never get anything done, so I sympathize with the entirety of the community. RantCast is going to go off. I'm going to probably base these dudes right here. I've got the bases ready to go. And start putting some paint on some models, 15, 30 minutes, whatever. Just a minor busy work. And then we'll see where that takes me.
I'll probably paint too after this, and because I got a goal to paint 2,000 points of ogres by end of the month. So, yeah.
Get going, get grinding, and like you said, the community is there for you. You can hang out with Jack. You can hang out with these content creators. We're accessible, unlike some of these other games out there, which I think makes all the difference in the world in keeping that passion there. I think that's great advice in life. It's about having a well-rounded life, not just a sole focus.
Yeah, and it's finding people who have a similar interest and similar passion as you, because it'll fire your passion all the time.
Yeah.
Where if you're kind of alone and trying to do something by yourself and like MTG just grinding arena, you're going to get real sick of it real quick. Where this is you're talking to your friends, getting instant feedback, or in the community. I could go in Vince Ventrela's chat or Doug's, ask a question, I'll get an answer.
Yeah.
Boom. Like you could figure something out,
Oh, now, Coach, only if you pay him. Thanks, Coach. I'm glad you're finally sold out fully. LLV asks, have you managed to attend any events yet, or are you planning to? We've actually covered that early on. He hasn't, but I'll let you take over.
Yeah, no, I'm planning to. There's a couple tournaments down in Calgary I want to hit. Um, I think one's in 3 weeks, and then one's in a month and a half, and then I'm going go to Vancouver probably to West Coast and meet up with Jack
Yeah.
and play some AOS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So
I'm
cool.
ready for that next step now. I got the rules down, I got screening and everything, and I'm just go and take that next competitive step and see how I like it.
I mean, LLV. Yeah, no, man, you don't have to apologize for being late. I know you got your. You're on the weird hours. You're in the past a little bit. You're in Calgary. LLV is in Calgary.
Oh, so yeah, we play in Strathmore. We're playing in 2 weeks in Strathmore here with my gaming group. I'm in just outside of Red Deer in Rocky Mountain House, and then we're playing in Calgary. If you want to find me on my Instagram, there it's on the screen. Message me. You could come join us anytime.
Yeah.
We're having a weekend game fest in 2 weeks or a week.
Look at that. Look at that. We got two folks from Chat Gang hooking up with the guest. This has been the most serendipitous episode of RantCast ever. And like,
Small world.
no, it is. A message on one of my videos turned into a full-on RantCast, and now we've got Bucket's future of gaming and LLV. I know, and LLV man, I know you feel a little bit on an island too. You know, the stats man of Age of Sigmar. And then you get to like, yeah, so like, and I mean, you've got a really competitive group, so LLV, you're gonna get that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're like, it's an open community. That's why I like this community more than anywhere. And yes, I'm probably going to attack X and Kamloops. I got that on my calendar.
Yeah, the RantCast has become Wargamer Tinder.
Yeah, no, yeah. Just matchmaking.
I love it.
But yeah, we meet up we're trying to meet up quite a bit, and we're turning my buddy's garage down in Strathmore into a content creator thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Chat gang, drink deeply of the milk. Yeah, keep the bone strong.
I'm thinking more of this Black Country apple pie, this stuff.
Yeah.
It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it tastes delicious.
Meth, this is your calling, bringing people together, bringing nerds together. It's true. Yeah. No, you don't know how true that is, Buckets. My entire MO, my entire premise is fuck nerd tribalism. It's dumb. Whatever, tribalism in real life, because like there's fight or flight, and you gotta like fight to survive and evolution and all that stuff. Okay, cool. You know, may the best human win and pass on your gene seed. Whatever, I'll concede. But at the table, we are in nerdery, whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars, whether it's Marvel or DC, whether it's Age of Sigmar or 40K. What's 40K anyway? Like, I don't care about your tribe. I just care about how much you love your thing that is nerdy and almost doesn't matter. You know, like it's just like no matter what's going on out there right now, I get to play games with tiny plastic men and for 2 hours just have a blast. And I get to go on the internet and have conversations about something I care about that improves my day. It improves my day to talk about my tiny plastic humans and, well, skeletons. Come on. And it improves other people's days. And like that's what it's about for me, is like finding this common ground of nerdery, that love and stuff like that. He says he's not on Graham. Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, no, I'm not on. I don't even know what my old Twitter is. I stopped that when I stopped fighting, but I just put my email there, and I'm on Facebook everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so he put the email, and LLV, you can always message me, man, and I'll get you in contact.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah, my Facebook too, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Discord, whatever.
AOS coach only cares about Corona and toilet paper. Don't infect him, you bastards.
You're not like 65 years old. You should be fine.
It's true. All right, man.
The panic's way worse than what it is. Let's get real.
All right,
it's a terrible thing, but
yeah. So any lingering thoughts? Any soapbox moments you wanna get off your chest?
No, not overly. I think we pretty much covered everything here. Yeah, we're just we're just trying to come up with a name and get content creating right away, and then I could go down to Seattle and beat Jack Sass and AOS like the Ravens beat the Seahawks. Then go from there.
I fucking love it. That's the kind of shade I'm here for. Corona
Yeah.
beer is you're just drinking Corona beer wrong. You gotta put the lime and the salt in it. You
You gotta
got
hoop it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Corona
Yeah.
with the lime and the salt makes it better. The danger zone. Oh no, LLV, you're in the danger zone. All right. Anything you want to put on blast?
No, I'm
Any
other
shout-outs?
than Jack. No, I'm just going to beat him in out of bed and get more models for free. So other than that, I'm pretty good.
All
Been a
right, man.
blast.
Man, I love tonight's show.
Yeah,
If
it's been a
you're
blast. I got a nice buzz on, and I'm happy. So
yeah, no, it was a great hang. Like it wasn't like MMA question. Did you ever get to train or fight with Nick Ring?
I know Nick Ring very, very well. I trained with him at BDB training. He coached me quite a bit, and Brian Bird, who was his coach, cornered me a lot. I trained a lot out of that gym. Nick Ring, I know very, very, very well.
LLV,
Yeah.
do you want to do a real quick AMA with him, man? Because like MMA is not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You'll have to watch this back. Yeah, we talked a little bit about MMA, or a lot of bit about MMA in there. Kind of your legacy, I think, through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hakeem Dawood, Owen Carr, Nick Ring, Brian Bird, Sheila Bird. I know all those guys from that gym. I love the Calgary fight scene. I trained out of there a lot. They took me in and coached me when a lot of gym politics were going on between my gym and another gym, and they didn't care. And Jordan Mean, I loved all those Calgary crew. I know them very well. Noah Lee's out of there too, so yeah. I love the Calgary fight scene.
Yeah, LV, you really should have come earlier, man. This was the episode for you, dude.
Yeah, we talked a lot of MMA earlier.
Yeah, a lot of MMA and kind of bringing it into AOS. It was. I think what this means, I'm gonna have to have you back on, man.
Yeah, I'm down anytime. After I'll start my show too.
Yeah, there you go. And then you can actually you talk about your show, and then we'll do some of the plugging the show thing, and we're real content creators.
Yeah, no, right now I just hang off of Jack, and just he recommended me to you, and so
yeah, you don't
shows how the community grows, right?
Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, it is, and you don't need to plug rerolling ones because rerolling ones will be on next week on RantCast. Tune in.
Yeah, no, I'll come and watch that show and talk some smack. But that's just what I mean. When it comes to this, like you shared my comment and stuff. Just when you're on the content creators groups and like Partners of War, any little groups, Cinderfall Gaming, or even like you, just if there's a content creator out there and something you love, make sure you like show a little love, make comments, and it puts a little fuel in the fire. Because I know that's how I was with MMA. I'd fight and someone. Ken Shamrock's one of the worst MMA fighters in history. Get out of here, coach.
Get out of here.
God.
He's trolling. He's trolling.
Oh God. Yeah, so like just make sure like AOS coaches and like all these guys, make sure you leave little comments and just make sure they know, because after you fought, every little comment on photos and pictures or a good job, it all adds up and helps the fuel.
It does. No, I got into my own little comment vortex recently, and I shouldn't have. But we're all human. You know, all of us. Whether you're making comments or you're taking the comments or you're making content or you're just commenting on it. Like we're all humans here, and treat each other like humans. That's all I got. Chat gang, thank you so much. You've been amazing tonight. The show within the show. Mike, man, come back sometime. This was awesome. I had so much fun.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you for having me.
All right, the world's most dangerous man.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Well, I'm the most dangerous man in Age of Sigmar, and I think Mike is the world's most dangerous man. So, good night, everybody.
Well, at my weight class.
I'm only at his weight class. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
See ya. Thank you.